My sisters set me up with my ex, and it got ugly fast.
Your ex did?
My ex-fiance, female 27, and I, male 28, age gap, were together for 3 years. We initially had a good relationship until she changed, becoming unhealthily obsessed with cosmetic surgery, luxury, and social media. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Azuri. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers to life's problems. We only know what we would do in any given situation. So let us know what you would do in the given situation down in the comments, all right? I won't go into the full extent of the problems between us. Boo! But these contributed to daily arguments. While engaged, I met another girl, female 24, I was insanely attracted to, not just for her looks, but for all her wonderful qualities. We became close, and though I tried to suppress the feelings, we eventually admitted we were head over heels for each other. And note, some perceive this to be cheating, and some don't. At the time, I was lost and asked my sisters for advice. 2 of them, social media influencers, took personal offense, and all 4 of them threw a collective fit advising me to proceed with the wedding, saying that it was too late to leave and things will get better and they want her to be their sister-in-law, etc.
That's terrible advice. That's terrible advice.
It's the worst advice you could get.
They're like, oh, no, forget about that, man. Just keep cheating on her.
The worst advice for also the sister-in-law that they want to have.
Yeah, they're like, no, we want her to be our sister-in-law, so keep cheating on her.
It was messy. But I left my ex anyways, and have now officially been with my girlfriend for 9 months. My sisters were pissed about this, but recently expressed they were sorry and wanted to meet her, so I told them I would bring her to our Nana's birthday celebration. When we arrived, my ex was there, invited by my sisters. It immediately started a fight with a lot of insults towards my girlfriend, so of course, we left. I apologized to my Nana for my siblings, and I making a scene. But seriously don't know how to deal with the girls. I love them, despite our differences, but what they've said and done has me livid. Any advice on what to do or how to confront them effectively would be appreciated. And there are some comments.
I don't even know, man.
I mean, like...
don't ever do that again, or we're not going to have a relationship?
If they're like girly pop girl code with your ex-fiance and you did leave her for another girl that you fell in love with in the midst of your engagement... It's a pretty steep uphill battle.
I mean,
you're
like,
I get facing there.
I get why they might be on ex-girlfriend's or ex-fiance's side. However, it certainly doesn't benefit ex-fiance to be around OP. So I don't know why they're doing that.
Yeah, they just want the drama.
Yeah.
I think you go to your sisters and you'd be like, "Who do you care more about, me or my ex?" And then, because then no matter what they say, you can go, "Okay, great. You care more about my ex." Bringing her around like that that's not good for her.
No.
You're just keeping her stuck in you think I want my ex to just feel terrible all the time? I don't.
Yeah. It's like you're just making her life worse.
And if you care more about me, okay, time to show it by not pulling some stunt like that. But yeah, that's uphill both ways in the snow.
Yeah.
Comments. Comment 1 says, as soon as they've told you it's too late to leave, that should have been a wake-up call, bro. What kind of nonsense is that? Agreed. Would they say that to an unhappy wife with kids? It's too late to leave is really dismissive and telling of how they value your feelings. OP replies, I couldn't have said it better myself. Don't really know if there's potential for them to understand why it's wrong, though. Comment 2 says, that is an epic ambush by your effed up sisters. They do not deserve any more of you in their lives until you are ready. Good on you for taking responsibility for your own behavior and protecting your girl. It looks like she's the only one in your corner now. Has there been any sense of an apology from the sisters? Send a group message that you are done with them for now. You can love them the way I love a lion. I would do anything to help it, but I definitely don't want to be close to it. OP replied, nah, no apologies. I sent a message to the group chat, and instead of replying, one posted a rant about the situation to her Instagram story. My girlfriend is wonderful, and they're missing out. Otherwise, the last 2 phrases make an excellent point. Thanks for your response. Comment 3 says, okay, I read your replies to other comments, and I gotta say this. Dude, I get it. You were unhappy with your ex. You said she had mental illness, and you two were constantly fighting, and she became addicted to social media and all that crap, but you still cheated. I'll say the same thing I always say. If you're unhappy in a relationship, then leave it. But don't cheat. That's the lowest thing anyone can willingly do to hurt their SO. And don't give me the, we simply fell in love with each other, we couldn't help it, because you could help it. You should have walked away long before you cheated if that was the case. Your sisters are wrong for creating that whole drama at your Nana's birthday, sure, but you're an a-hole for cheating on your ex. All of y'all need some effing therapy. Again, I'm going to go out and be on the limb that, like, it doesn't sound like that was the intent. And it sounds like once it became clear, it was like, oh, now it needs to end.
Yeah, I'm
that
kind
was
of
the
on
trigger.
the belief that if you're both on the same page that you're in love with each other, it was probably a little bit of emotional cheating at the very least to get to that point. However, I don't even think that's really the full point of this story. I think the full point is that what your sisters are doing is neither good for you nor your ex. So that's the main point of this story.
I agree. Comment 4. Is everyone just going to gloss over the fact that OP cheated emotionally at best on his fiance, and that might be the reason his sisters are upset rather than them just wanting her to be their sister-in-law? It sounds like you're using some of your ex's negative qualities as justification for cheating on her rather than as deal breakers you can point to as a reason for leaving her. If they were truly deal breakers, you would have left her before getting into a relationship with another woman. That said, I'm not saying what the sisters did, inviting the ex-fiancé and ambushing his current girlfriend, is in any way justifiable, unless, of course, the new girlfriend knew he was engaged and decided to proceed with the relationship anyway. And there is an update. And, yeah. So just hung up on, I don't know, man.
This just ain't good. This ain't a good situation.
Things don't always happen real clean, you know? I am the proponent that it's like, yeah, if you're not happy in a relationship and you want to pursue other people, then you should just leave that relationship and then pursue other people.
Yeah.
But, like, if you don't realize that you don't want to be in your relationship until you realize you do have this thing with this other person, I don't know.
I think that, like, it sometimes is blurry. I'm just saying, usually, not that we don't know for sure, but usually when you're both, like, we've confessed that we're in love with each other, there's, like, a little bit of,
Yeah, there's
kind of going
clearly
on,
been something there.
We don't know, and it's really
Yeah.
not the main point of the story or the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to have that. The sister battle is uphill.
Uphill.
Sister battle be uphill. And there's an update. I've read every comment and appreciate the help. I'll be meeting with the girls in 5 for a talk, which will hopefully have a positive outcome. I want to give them a chance to apologize and promise to do better, but if not, as it was heavily suggested, I will resort to no contact. Thanks again for the guidance, and we have another update. As I said, I met with my sisters. Only the youngest was willing to have a real conversation where she explained her side and I told her how I felt. She also apologized to everyone, which I was appreciative of. And by the way, I'd be appreciative of you listening to full episodes with stories like this one on your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, search OK Storytime, and that's where you'll find us.
True.
And there's a little bit more story here.
Let's just do it.
Let's get it. The other 3 made an embarrassing scene once again and refused to talk or listen. Consequentially, and as many people suggested, I let them know that I'd be cutting off contact with them until they're ready for a discussion. They started texting me later that night, telling me that I still have to help them with their finances and other nonsense. I did pity them, but this time decided I won't oblige. I'm now going through something more serious with my ex and the 3 girls, which resulted in me having to file a complaint to the police. Hopefully, this can all be resolved soon, but in the meantime, I'm grateful for my sister, who has also now met my girlfriend properly. And of course, Nana got her second party, and that is the end. I got out of prison hoping for redemption, but my mother refuses to take me back.
I guess you can go back to prison.
My family still think of me as nothing more than a common crook. They're valid in their reasoning, to be fair. I did 11 years in a state penitentiary. I was granted parole, and I'm genuinely trying to be a better person, but I have nothing and nobody. By the way, this comes from user Arrogant Dante. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers to all the problems and all the questions. We just know what we would do. So tell us what you would do instead in the comments. Or if we were perfect and did everything right. OP says, My brother is the sole person who contacts me, and even then it's sometimes to give some money. My family has completely cut me off. I don't know how to convince them that I'm a changed man. I know what horrible things I did, but I reform. I just want my mom's love again. I miss her.
I'm sorry. It's the what is it? You can't do the time, don't do the crime.
I mean, it really is like, what did you do?
11 years is a long time.
What was done? What have you done?
But it also does depend on the state and everything, but
But also, like, that's the whole point of going, is to get reformed and be a new person coming out.
It
So
is
we
true.
should be giving people chances.
But there are some comments. Comment 1, by doing and not telling them and trying to convince them, it will take time and a lot of effort. Comment 2, I think it depends on your crime. Some things can be forgiven, some cannot. OP replies, armed robbery. I was a punk of a kid. I and a friend held up a liquor store thinking we'd get rich. I got 15 years, but was granted parole at 10. I hate myself for doing it. I ruined my life over something so stupid. Comment 3 says, I'm rooting for you. It will take time, but they will recognize. You must stay on your path to redemption and let your actions speak for you rather than your words. OP replies, yeah, it's just hard. I want nothing more than to be treated like a person. I refuse to go back to that place. It's so lonely. I work and sleep and that's it. I lack the ability to make friends. Comment 4, do you game? This may sound kind of dorky, but especially during the vid, online gaming or Discords have been a great social circle and way to meet new people for me. Wishing you better times, friend. OP replies, I do, but I have a laptop that can do light gaming. Most of my stuff is from pre-prison, so it sucks. I can't have a TV or game console in my halfway home. They don't have room or allow it. Comment 5 says, it's going to take 11 years of honest hard work and becoming a contributing member of your community to put this more or less behind you. It's an ugly truism that choices have consequences. I have no idea why you served 11 years or what you may have done to hurt your family, but it's on you to fix this. Good luck. OP replies, you're 100% right. I made an active choice and suffered. I did my time, but the way I'm treated, it's just hard. No point in being reformed if you're still forever branded a criminal. With a felony on my record, I have very little choice of housing or work. It's just frustrating because if I make a single mistake, I'm 100% effed and back in prison. It's almost like our system doesn't work right.
Almost like the prison system needs a massive reform.
Yeah, it's almost like it's built to keep you in prison.
shocking.
That couldn't be the case. Yeah, I was trying to roll through situations where armed robbery could be cool, but no matter what, it's a frownable offense.
You're
for
like,
sure.
Grand Theft Auto kind of looked fun, and I wanted to do it, but I
Very
didn't know there was
frowned.
repercussions.
The
Big frown.
penitentiary, the abandoned museum penitentiary that I worked for was huge with like prison reform stuff and like hiring previously incarcerated people to like help them get back on their
Yeah.
feet, because that's how, and they did like a whole exhibit about like just how easy it is to fall directly back into another prison because there's no way to help people get on their feet when they come out.
Well, there's an update here, though. My brother got my mom to sit down with me. Long story is I poured my heart out to her, acknowledging I had failed her and everyone. I desired to change and had steps to reform. She was unmoved. She said 3 words, "You're not forgiven." Before she left, she said, what I did was something that cannot ever be forgiven. She spent years trying to convince herself I was not the thug people said I was. She bent over backwards defending me in front of my father. When I got arrested, a part of her passed away. She hasn't been the same since. Looking at me is just too painful now. She can't forgive me. She just can't find it in her heart to ever forgive me. She wants no further relation with me and wants me to cease all contact with her, or else she will go to the police. That was that. My brother drove me back home. I just sat in silence while he tells me she lost a lot of passion in her life when I got put away. He'll keep sending me money because he owes me for the amount of times I protected him, but we aren't family. He can't forgive me and wants nothing to do with me. He hopes, he prays I can keep my vow to be a better person. He has his doubts, but has some hope. I expected this, but it still is crushing. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you did this pretty quickly out, and I know you wanted to do it as soon as possible, but like I said, just doing things yourself and focusing what you can do to better yourself and better your life, time will, hopefully heal things. It does suck. you can't rush this. When you went to what, jail, prison, like it was said,
Treason.
she lost. She was defending you, and you proved her wrong.
I don't know, bro. To me, this reads like, and of course, we're just filling in holes. It feels like it was a long time coming.
Yeah,
You getting consequences.
I didn't
and
wanna say
instead of addressing your behaviors or being like, wow, my son maybe does need some, I don't know, some guide, whatever. My son needs
Yeah.
correction.
A gal 82 says so he was messing up before the robbery.
Right. So
Yeah.
sounds like you had a long history of bad behavior and your mom refused to see it forever. And then once you did actually go to prison, she's like, oh, well, you know, parents sometimes do this thing where it's like they like their kids are like the direct reflection of them. So like because you are this guy who had these, you know, you were a bad guy. You were doing some bad boy activities. But the whole time your mom's like, no, he's not. He's not. And I can ignore that and be delusional because I could never raise a kid who would do that. And that because then that would reflect poorly on me. So I think this is actually, in a way, more about your mom than it really is about you. Like it's your mom's relationship with herself that is preventing her from letting you back into her life. Comments. Comment 1 says, didn't you get counseling before you were released that pretty much went over this? They should have impressed on you that no one owes you forgiveness and that you made victims of more than your victims. The people closest to you were victimized as well by your crime. This relationship may or may not be repairable, but the only way there is any chance is by living your life right. Not for anyone or anything, just live right. Your actions over years are the only thing that can convince anyone. Comment 2 says, OP, I think you also need to realize that your past isn't just about you anymore. The law may say that you've served your time, but you've permanently ruined your family's reputation. People around town will label your mom as the woman whose son went to prison, etc. It'll be used as excuses to not trust her because she might end up enabling you. She might be excluded from events out of fear you'll show up. Your mom is cutting you off to save herself. It might seem selfish, but it's a survival technique after such betrayal. And it's nowhere near as selfish as your actions. You can only change your public image through hard work over time. It won't happen overnight, and not everyone will let go of your past. You need to accept that they have the right to be hurt and not forgive you. And by the way, I would not forgive you if you told me you weren't going to listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on your favorite podcast platforms, because I'd be crushed if you didn't go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and simply search OK Storytime to get access to our full archive. I would be very upset.
You don't want to hurt him. Look at him. Don't hurt his feelings. He's a simple man. He might cry. Look at that. You can tell he's an ugly crier.
I'm a beautiful crier, actually, and we do have some more comments here.
There's only two more left, and the last one's really mean.
Oh, the last one's really mean? Yeah, you know, moral of this story is just keep it pushing and try to make it not about you.
It's also, at this point, you don't need to get advice from anybody else. You don't need to be approved by somebody else. You don't need to prove yourself. You just need to, you don't need to prove yourself to them. It's at this point, prove it to yourself and just live your life the right way. Like that last commenter said, it does suck, but what can you do now? You can't force people to change their minds about you or change their ways about. You can sway them. You can try to, but if they're pretty set on how they feel and what you took from them, or what you did, try to put yourself in their shoes. Yeah, sure, it's hard. It's easier said than done for sure, but
yeah,
you can't change their mindset.
No, you just gotta. It's just about you now. It's not about anyone else. What's one of the 4 agreements is don't take anything personally. I know it's really hard not to take your mom not forgiving you personally, but there's a lot more going on there than just about you.
It's back to the point of like how she took it personally.
Yeah, she took it personally. So it's, I don't know. All you can do is try to turn that into noise and just keep working on. Just keep doing your thing. There's more life out there for you. Another comment. It's disgusting the amount of I'm sorries to OP in the comments. The F are y'all saying sorry to him for? He put a weapon to a cashier, threatened him, and it was all for some money. And now only a month after he's got out, he's whining and playing victim on Reddit. Hey, OP, you did this to yourself. Which is not wrong. Your mom doesn't love you anymore because you became the very thing she actively defended against. Shame on you. And that's some of that noise that we're going to have to cancel out, because that's not even necessarily wrong, but it's certainly not going to help you become a better person by focusing on that and thinking about that.
I wonder how that commenter feels. Like, yeah, I told him. I was the first person to tell him that.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
like that comment, that whoever wrote that comment made that comment because of reasons completely outside of you, OP. They don't really know you or care anything about the situation. For some reason, yeah, that's just the way it is.
This guy didn't have 10 years to think about his wrongdoings. No.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you're 21. Comment, hey, OP, I hope you don't let this change your plans to be a better person. I'd also perhaps discourage you from thinking that your mom was unmoved by your conversation. She might just not be in a position at the moment to fully open herself up and letting you back into her life at this moment. Maybe that'll change down the road when there's been more time to prove you're committed to all the things you're promising. OP replies, it won't. It won't. I desire to be a better person because I hate having so much anger in my heart. And that is the end of that story.
I stayed obedient for years until one day I finally set myself free.
Get out of there.
And there is a trigger warning for booze and substance mentions. My husband and I have been married for almost 2 years, but together for almost 15. He is my only real long-term boyfriend I have had in my adult life, and we have 2 children together. Looking back honestly, our relationship has been rocky from the very beginning. That said, the last 3 years had been pretty great. I felt like we had finally found a rhythm and some stability as a family. By the way, this comes from Suspicious Rock 1661. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. The turning point happened after he got blackout wasted at his friend's wedding. During the entire 1.5-hour drive home, he raised his voice and said incredibly nasty things. I was the one driving him and his friend home because I was sober. It was one of those moments that permanently shifts how you see someone, even if you do not realize it at the time. After that incident, things did improve for a while. I began working on myself in a real and intentional way. I lost weight, put more effort into my appearance, and made new friends. I started to feel more confident and more like myself again, and for a period of time, our relationship felt lighter and healthier. About 5 months ago, everything changed again. He woke up one morning and told me he was not happy with his life or with me, and that he wanted to leave. That statement completely blindsided me. Shortly after, he decided he was wrong and said he did not want to leave after all. I tried to move forward, but the instability never stopped. Here's a highlight reel of the last 5 months. He has left me 4 to 5 times and returned each time apologizing. It really is that.
Oh my god.
What you
I was
say?
kidding.
Oh my god. Every return came with promises that things would be different. During this time, he became increasingly unhappy whenever I went out for dinner or spent time with my girlfriends. He also got blackout wasted again and behaved horrendously toward me. That same evening, there was severe drama involving his family. I ended up being painted as the villain for calling out his behavior and saying it was disgusting. This all happened while our 2 children were asleep in their beds. He has called me every name under the sun, often directly in front of our children. He has also accused me multiple times of having affairs, despite there being absolutely no reason or evidence to support those accusations. The paranoia and distrust became relentless. His explanation for his behavior is that he does not feel loved enough by me. He says I am not affectionate enough and that I do not meet his emotional needs. The truth is that it is incredibly hard to feel affectionate towards someone who treats you like crap. I find myself constantly questioning how anyone could expect warmth and closeness under those circumstances. On top of everything, I am receiving very little family support. Instead, I am being made to feel guilty for breaking our family apart if I do not let him come back home. The pressure is intense and emotionally exhausting, but deep down, I know he's not going to change, no matter how many chances I give him. I think what I'm really looking for is validation and support that I am making the right decision. I keep being told that I'm wrong or that I'm overreacting. It makes me second guess myself constantly. I want to know how to stay strong in my decision to not take him back and how to establish a healthy co-parenting relationship for our children moving forward. And there is an update, but do you have any thoughts?
Leave.
Yeah.
Don't let him come back. He's left 5 times?
5 times.
Months worth or 5 times?
5 times.
5 times.
Yeah.
5 times.
I have spent the last few weeks deeply reflecting on our relationship. Honestly, it has been incredibly difficult to look at it clearly. It's also embarrassing to acknowledge how much I have tolerated for so long. Facing these truths has been painful but necessary. For some background, we started seeing each other when we were just 15 years old. With the benefit of hindsight, I can now see that he was pressuring me to do what he wanted even back then. At the time, I did not have the emotional tools to recognize that behavior for what it was. I grew up in an awful household and an extended family shaped by trauma and dysfunction. Around the time we first met, my stepdad, who had raised me, told me his new partner did not like me calling him dad. She was also turning my bedroom in his house into her spare room. That moment marked the beginning of him abandoning his fatherly role in my life. The night we officially started dating at 17 is deeply troubling to think about now. We had been at a local function together as friends. Earlier that night, I had been talking with a mutual friend, and we had snuck away briefly to spend time together. When we returned, our friends were laughing and teasing us. That is when my future husband completely lost it. He began screaming at me in front of everyone, calling me names and accusing me of hooking up with his friend. This was despite the fact that we were not together at that point. I followed him outside to apologize, even though I now have no idea what I was apologizing for. That night ended with me entering a relationship with him. What? What?
That doesn't make sense.
What? He screamed at you in front of everyone and was like, "You're hooking up with my friend," and you were like, "Huh?"
You're like-
you went, I really want to date this man.
You went, "Ooh, that's attractive."
That's what I
That's
want.
boyfriend material, yeah.
Oh man. Over the years, he habitually lied to me about using illicit substances. I had made it very clear that I didn't want that lifestyle anywhere near me. These lies caused significant damage to my friendships. Friends would come to me with concerns about his substance use. He would deny everything and accuse them of lying. I would end up in arguments with people who were genuinely trying to look out for me. 2 years ago, he finally admitted that he had been lying the entire time. He said he did it because my viewpoint had changed and I had become more accepting. That admission made me question everything I thought I knew about our relationship. The last 2 to 3 years of our relationship seemed great on the surface. In hindsight, I now understand that this period was calmer because I had become more obedient. I had stopped pushing back and started accommodating him in every way. I was essentially a married single mother. I handled everything at home, worked in our shared business, and was the primary parent to our children. I carried the emotional and practical load almost entirely on my own. I read everyone's comments about leaving him, running, and getting a divorce. That is absolutely my plan. I am trying to be thoughtful and strategic rather than acting purely on impulse. This is not impulse, though.
Doesn't seem like impulse.
It's
I can understand maybe if she's saying not
Yeah.
impulse because she has to save or
yes,
something, but
that's different.
this is not
But it's not
impulsive.
impulse. It's 15 years
Yeah.
leading up to this moment of him mistreating you. I want to make sure I protect myself and my children in the long term. After my last post, I caved under his pressure and allowed him another chance. I told him I planned to visit my friend's new apartment in the city and go out for dinner with her. His reaction was immediate and explosive. He tried to forbid me from going. I told him clearly that I wasn't asking for permission, only informing him of my plans. He began yelling in front of our children that we either needed to be husband and wife again or he was leaving immediately. I felt completely overwhelmed and just wanted the situation to stop escalating. Out of sheer exhaustion, I agreed. No. He later admitted that he had gone through my phone and read my private messages with my friend. He said he did not trust what I was telling him. That invasion of privacy confirmed how unsafe the dynamic had become. A week later, he left again. I'm changing the locks.
Yeah.
I am changing the locks after that. Stay out. At that point, I was no longer surprised. We are currently not together. He continues to apologize and tells me he loves me and regrets what he said and did. He repeatedly asked me whether I'm done or whether I want to be with him. I reminded him that he's the one who left and that we're not together. I have told him clearly that without real, sustained behavior change, I am not willing to continue the relationship.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Now hold
yes.
to it.
I love this. I now understand that this change is unlikely to ever happen. I believe he's a self-absorbed person or very close to it. This realization has helped me make sense of so many confusing patterns. In the meantime, I have been recording many of our conversations and interactions. I'm also meeting with a lawyer and speaking with an individual counselor. I'm trying to get our house ready for sale without drawing attention to what I'm doing. I have forwarded important business financial documents to a separate email in case he tries to restrict my access. I'm being as cautious and prepared as possible. His work email is still logged in on my computer because I handled most of his correspondence. A few days ago, he received an email from Snapchat about a password change. It may not seem like a huge deal on its own. However, I am confident there is either a specific woman involved or that he is having casual spicy sleep. He is cheating on you.
It also really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't
at
matter.
this point, because we're leaving.
Yeah, but if it's like the final nail in the coffin that you need
Yeah, he's
to
cheating.
fully leave, he's cheating on you.
He's cheating.
Yeah, that's why people tend to almost always, when they accuse you with, no evidence or no proof of cheating, they're usually cheating themselves. Update 2. My soon-to-be ex-husband has been out of our home for 2 weeks now. These 2 weeks have been filled with emotional meltdowns, love bombing, and everything in between. Despite that, I have held firm in my decision.
Amazing.
Amazing. Back to amazing. I have told him clearly that I'm completely done and want a divorce. I purchased new security cameras for peace of mind. My goal is to sell the house and buy my own place as soon as possible. Separating our finances is going to be incredibly difficult and complicated. Still, I know it's necessary. I understand that I'm only at the very beginning of this journey. Even so, I feel incredibly proud of myself. I feel strong and resolved in a way I never have before. Most surprisingly, I have not missed him at all. I feel free. My kids and I can exist in our home without walking on eggshells. We can do what we want without worrying about his reactions. There is no yelling anymore, just peace and calm. And there is a third update. I am still separated from my soon-to-be ex-husband and waiting until I am legally allowed to apply for divorce. In my country, there's a mandatory 12-month waiting period. His behavior continued to escalate after he was unable to return home. Eventually, police applied for an intervention order on behalf of my children and me, and he has had no access to the children since the beginning of December. Throughout all of this chaos, I have been processing and healing. With strong external support, I am beginning to understand just how toxic the relationship truly was. Many behaviors I normalized are now painfully clear. It has been a surreal experience. While my external world has felt like it was on fire, my inner world with my children has been the most peaceful and joyful I have ever experienced. That contrast has been incredibly grounding. By the way, you know what else can be incredibly grounding? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. My children are thriving. Yay! My daughter has stopped wetting the bed every night. My son is becoming the calm, caring boy he always was, but now openly and confidently. The difference in them is undeniable. I am so proud of myself for fighting for myself and my kids. At the beginning of this process, the only people who made me feel like I was not losing my mind were you all. I am deeply grateful for that support. I wanted to share this to show how powerful a support system can be. Your words and encouragement truly matter. Please treat those who come here looking for advice with kindness because we really are trying our best. Well, I'm glad you are no longer in that situation. Please get everyone therapy. Everyone. But that's the end of that story, and we've got another one coming right up.
I promoted my sister's ex after they broke up, and it was not pretty.
He's just too good at his job, sis.
I, 40 male, am in a weird situation here. My sister, Sarah, 34 female, had been with Josh for 3 years. I own a business. Without getting too specific, I have 8 employees right now, so fairly small. I hired Josh despite him having less experience than typical for a new hire. Originally as a favor to Sarah, but he was a natural fit. From day one, he's been a huge contributor. By the way, this comes from Representative Map767, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, as OP says. All was fine and dandy until about 3 months ago. It came out that Josh had been sleeping with Sarah's best friend, Ashley.
Oh my.
Ashley is now pregnant! Obviously, Sarah left him, is now living with our parents in the house I pay for. He is now engaged to Ashley and living with her. I don't see this lasting. While this was happening, I tried to remain professional with Josh. While I think he's a filth-tastic guy. Technically, personal stuff shouldn't be used against him at work. One of my longest employees, unfortunately, has had some major health complications come up and he unofficially retired, keeping him on the books for insurance, but he won't be working for a while. Hate to say it, but Josh really stepped up in his absence. He's been incredibly essential in keeping us running and successful now more than ever before. Now that it's become clear that my other employee won't be coming back anytime soon, I needed to replace him. Josh is the natural candidate, and all my other employees told me to promote him. So I gave it to him with about a 50% raise.
So actually, he said, I'm not only going to promote you, but also here's a little more money.
50% more is crazy.
That's pretty insane.
Wow.
Did we find out why they broke up again?
He was sleeping with their best friend and got her pregnant and is now engaged to her best friend.
That was a bad move.
I don't know. It's hard because he's helping your business.
Yeah.
And like business and social are very different, but it is a weird situation you've been put in. And I know you didn't put yourself there, but
I gotta say, I feel like if I were in this situation, my brother would not be doing that.
Yeah.
That is like biggest brother betrayal you can do.
Yeah.
Raise and no, promotion and 50% raise.
Oh, because I don't know.
I guess I'll need it for that kid he's gonna have.
What the person before him was making, and he's been flourishing in it. Awkward part about that is Sarah just found out he was promoted from a mutual friend and is livid with me.
Fair.
She gave me an earful, as did my parents, and now I'm feeling pretty conflicted. I feel like personal life and professional should be treated separately, but my family is saying this is different. Any advice? And there is an edit.
I'm gonna be honest. Yes, this might have been the right move professionally, but your family's not gonna like you for it. And sometimes you kind of have to like make choices like that in life.
Yeah.
Do you want your professional life to, continue upwards, or do you want to make your family happy? And that's literally genuinely the question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah. And plus, like, I don't know, because it's also her business. So, like, and he's helped significantly.
His OP's guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
It helps with his business.
Mm.
You could hire someone, but they're not going to be as, experienced or maybe even successful as this person because they've been there for a while and just know how to do it.
Absolutely.
It's like the obvious choice, but they also made a horrible move towards your family.
I genuinely think you are not in the wrong from a professional standpoint.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean your family has to like you for it.
It is hard, OP.
Yeah.
Well, there is an edit. They were never married or engaged, just living together. No kids together. I am not firing anyone. He hasn't broke any work rules, and that would screw over everyone else who works for me. We do profit sharing, and that would require turning down jobs due to not having bandwidth to take them on. It would also require more hours from anyone. I'm not going to do that as that wouldn't help anybody. People keep saying just hire someone else, but we have a national worker shortage, and this is a specialized position. Even if the perfect candidate came in, it would take at least 6 months to get them to speed, and that's with a candidate with ample experience. We have had open jobs for our entry-level roles that we train for 4 months that aren't getting filled. Pay starts at $50K. We just haven't had qualified workers applying who are willing to do the work. It is not so simple. Timeline goes like 2 years ago, hires Josh. Day 1, old employee takes short leave. Josh fills in temporarily at first. A couple weeks later, this all comes out. Josh is still filling in and doing great. 3 weeks later, old employee shares he will not be coming back due to health reasons. All my other employees tell me how great Josh is doing and how much they like working for him. Business is booming, and they tell me how much they think Josh deserves the promotion officially. 2 weeks later, I have to make a decision, so I give him the promotion purely for performance reasons. A couple weeks after that, Sarah finds out, and that was in the last week.
So he had only been working for a couple weeks with you before you gave him the promotion?
But he was filling in. So technically you could replace him, but you're just not getting people to come in.
Yeah.
So, and that is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to find a replacement, especially in like specific work. I don't know exactly what you do, OP, but it seems like how you're describing it, it's like very specific work that has to do with technical things, it seems. So like, if you're not in it, it's hard to explain. But also, you said that the perfect candidate were to come in, it would take them 6 months, but it didn't take Josh that much, and he had no experience.
3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were like, yeah, he didn't have any experience, but it was like, whatever, he'll learn, and he did learn, and now he's doing great. So I feel like
someone else could do it.
Someone else could do it. It's just no one has come forward
Yeah.
to do it. it is hard because obviously it's your business. You don't want it to just be destroyed just because this guy screwed your sister over.
Yeah.
It's hard. Oh, this is such a
It's hard.
pickle.
The thing is, like, again, you gotta choose right here between your business and your family.
Yeah. If you were to fire Josh, you would have to fill that position. If you couldn't fill that position, your employees are all going to be overworked. They're probably going to be mad because not only did you lose one employee, you're now losing 2 employees out of the 8 that you have. So now you only have 6 employees trying to do an 8-person job. Everyone's going to be like overworked, tired, exhausted, frustrated, angry, whatever. And it's not like he's doing a bad job either.
No.
He just did bad things outside
He's
of
just
work.
a bad person.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah.
So this is hard. This is hard. Curd_1. Let me ask you a hypothetical question. If Josh cheated with your wife or girlfriend, being an exemplary employee at the same time, what would you do? Edit. My take, you have every right to put your business above your sister, but she has every right to feel betrayed by you. But spare us that BS about supporting her.
Completely agree with that comment. Completely agree with that comment. Because this is not supporting her. This is you supporting your business,
Yeah.
which you're allowed to do.
But just admit that.
Yeah, admit that it's at the expense of your sister.
Unfortunately, sorry, sis, but
Yeah.
business is booming and I cannot just fire another person.
Sorry. And I'm also planning on hiring your ex-boyfriend's affair child. We're going to raise him up too.
OP responds, that really makes me think.
He sounds like that's such a businessman response. That really makes me think. I'm going to think about that while I keep doing what I'm doing.
Give me 2 to 5 business days.
Mm-hmm.
I will think about this and send it in an email.
Titled, That
My
Really Made
Decision.
Me Think.
What was it?
That really made me think.
That really made me think. I feel like I wouldn't be able to be objective in that situation, so I would make the emotional decision to fire him. I don't know if that would actually be an ethical business decision, though. Being a little more removed from the situation, it's easier to be objective. Light Observer says, Josh has demonstrated poor ethics as a person. It should make you at least question his ethics when it comes to your business as well. OP responds, thing is, despite how bad of a boyfriend he was, he's never messed up at work. I worry about the message it sends to the rest of the team that personal life problems endanger your job. I've had a lot of employees over the years have relationships and marriages fail at times. Realistically, some have probably cheated, but I've never disciplined someone for how they handle their personal relationships.
It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about the fact that this guy cheated on your sister weeks after you promote him. After he already so he starts, then a couple weeks later cheats on your sister, then a couple weeks later you promote him. That's the issue here. That's the issue. It has nothing to do with, I fire everyone who cheats on someone.
See, the thing is, if the promotion wasn't up for grabs, like say this guy didn't get sick or whatever and had to leave, he wouldn't have promoted him. So he have gotten the promotion, or would he have just gotten fired?
Yeah, what would you have done if that guy hadn't left?
Yeah, it just looks bad. The promotion looks really bad.
Mm-hmm.
After all of that happened.
Yep.
That just seems wrong to me. If I had just hired him, it'd be one thing, but he's worked for me for 2 years without okay.
2 years.
Did we not read the timeline right?
I don't understand the timeline then.
Yeah.
Back to the timeline.
Let's go back in time. Beep, boop, bop, bop, beep, bop, bop. Oh, okay. 2 years ago, hires Josh.
Oh, day one.
Old employee takes short leave.
It is a couple weeks into we just didn't realize how long it had been. But a couple weeks into working there, he cheats on OP's sister.
So he hires him. Day one, he already is like taking this position.
Yes.
And then a couple weeks later, finds out he's cheating. And then 3 weeks after that, the old employee's like, can't come back. And so then he's like, 2 weeks later, I'm going to promote him.
That's the crazy thing to me. Looking back at the timeline, we went back in time, we checked the facts. He didn't know that the guy was leaving until after Josh had already cheated, right?
Yes.
So it wasn't even an issue. You kept him on after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a crazy thing to me.
That's true. Yeah,
And maybe you couldn't have legally done that, but like you haven't said that.
That's
you haven't
true.
told us.
I
that
don't know.
You would have to like fire him with cause or whatever. So that feels like to me
true.
that's not an issue.
I also didn't think of it like legally how it
Yeah.
could go because you can't just fire someone
With no cause.
Yeah. So, Or you can literally get sued and blah, 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 all that.
But OP hasn't said that's an issue. So I wonder if he can do that and he just didn't want to.
Turbulent Being 5212 says, come on, dude. If your sister employed someone who your wife cheated with, you would feel betrayed. You're willing to be unethical for yourself, but not for your sister. Your argument is personal versus professional life doesn't stand up. You're using it as a crutch.
Yo.
And why exactly are you not emotional here? Your little sister got extremely hurt by someone. It's crazy you're so objective. My take is that you're her big brother. You're supposed to protect her and be in her corner. If someone had cheated on me, I think it would be difficult to keep my brothers from not beating him to a pulp, let alone giving the dude promotions and being all buddy-buddy with him.
Yeah. Also, how are you treating him while he's in office?
Yeah.
You know? Because if you're giving a promotion, that feels like you're working fairly close with him. Are you being all buddy-buddy? Are you like, hey, Josh, my guy. Another great day from the Joshster. Excellent work in all areas of your life, Josh.
Especially with my sister. Screw her, I hate her.
Yeah, I don't like my sister. And also, his whole spiel about being objective feels untrue. I think he just cares more. I think like the emotional thing for him is that he cares more about his business.
Which is okay. You're allowed to care about your business. Like, that's where your money's coming from. That's where, you know, that's where you're making a living.
Just be honest about it.
It's just at the expense of your sister. You're telling me there's not one person out there that could do his job? There's not one person you could bring in and train? Maybe inconvenient in the short term, but more inconvenient in the long term to have a crappy relationship with your sister because of some dude. As for the legal aspect, do what big businesses do. Treat him crappy enough that he leaves on his own. Oh, certainly don't promote him. Increase his quality of life on your dime and then expect your sister to swallow it down and not feel betrayed. OP responds, he was already filling in doing that job before all this came out. And he was doing it better than the person before. The hiring market is tough right now to find someone with this experience. I definitely felt conflicted, but the rest of my team was vouching for how well he's doing and how much they like working for him. I do feel bad for my sister, but my business supports 7 other employees' livelihoods, supports my wife and 3 kids, and my parents whose housing expenses I pay for, so indirectly paying to house my sister currently, since my dad is on disability. It's not black and white. I understand my sister is hurt. At this point, I'm more asking how I can help do damage control.
So he's like, I actually don't care about anything that you guys are saying about me betraying my sister, but what can I do where I still get what I want and also no one's mad at me for it?
That's exactly it.
Yes.
Though I think giving her space is the right move now so she can cool off. Deleted responds, look, you can't fire him for personal reasons. Your sister and your family will be pissed at you for that. And with good reason, you can't possibly deny that. Try talking with your sister and family on what you can compromise with them. I'm sure you've already explained that you made your decision purely on business reasons and firing/demoting him is off the table given that you can be sued for that. Info, have you talked to Josh about the issue with your sister? In hindsight, never mix family and business again. OP responds, I talked to him once when it all came out. He apologized and told me he fell in love with the other woman. I told him I don't want to hear about that or ever discuss this matter at work, and that all conversations from here on out would be strictly professional. He has abided by that since. As a rule, I don't discuss the two of them with each other no matter what. The consensus is not the a-hole and there is an update.
I don't know. I don't like you, though.
I don't know. I'm kind of on OP's side.
I don't think that OP's necessarily doing the wrong thing. I just don't like him.
I just feel bad that he's the one making all the money, that he has a wife and kids to provide for. He also has all these other employees to provide for.
Feels like an excuse to me.
What do you mean? That's not an excuse.
Like, it feels like he's just saying, oh, I get a new person. Like, I don't want to do the work to get a new person.
Well, yeah,
Like, I
because
feel
it's
like he's-
hard. Because he said that
Yeah, I feel
But
like he just doesn't want to do the work.
the business or the like hiring market is really bad right now.
Nah, I don't believe him. I don't buy it.
I mean, he didn't even apply for the job. Sister vouched for him and was like, hey, he's looking for a job. Can you do it? And it's like, maybe, I guess. And then
Yeah.
all that happens and it's like, yay.
You can do whatever you want, OP. Yeah, you're doing the right thing business-wise. I'll tell you that. That's all I say.
Update. Saturday night, we had a family dinner where my parents and Sarah are living. We didn't talk about the subject of the last post during dinner, but Sarah was being noticeably short with me to the point that my sons noticed. After dinner, I asked to speak in private, to which she obliged. I reiterated to her that my actions with Josh were purely about business and had nothing to do with her. She told me she knows that, and she was embarrassed at her reaction. It's just been a few really crappy months for her.
Oh, dang. Wow.
Yeah.
I like her, and I still don't like you.
Basically, she told me she hates her job, is now single, and missing her former best friend. And now she's having some anxiety about never finding someone before she's too old to have kids. And meanwhile, everything just keeps seeming to get better for her ex. I have to say that really was sad to hear from her. I told her I'm always here for her and asked her what ideally she'd like to do work-wise. Well, it turns out, without getting too specific, what she would ideally like to do is something that one of my best friends has a business and needs someone to do that function. That friend owes me some favors for a jam I got them out of in the past, so I told her I'd see what I can do. Well, they connected Monday and really hit it off. They offered her a full-time position that she will now be starting in 2 weeks. She'll be making more money with better benefits, doing something she's always wanted to do. Also, on Sunday, we actually went to the amusement park with my kids, and her and I had a bit of a family day.
Okay. Somehow you got it so that everything worked out for you. And you know what? I'm impressed. Somehow you did it. And I'm glad that you finally helped your sister. I feel like maybe you could have talked to her a while ago and then you wouldn't have had all these problems, but you didn't, and you finally talked to her.
By the way, you can benefit by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just search OK Storytime. All right, we're right at the end.
Oh boy.
She said that was great therapy for her, and what she needed was to get out of the house my parents are living in, as she was just feeling sorry for herself there. She's looking at apartments this week and is hoping to find one near me, as she loves hanging out. I'm not talking free babysitting with her nephews. Sorry, this isn't the juicy update some people who were saying she's going to go absolutely no contact with me were expecting, but it was a happy update nonetheless. I'm really excited for her to start her new job, as I think she'll be much happier there, and she has a lot to offer, so I'm sure she'll find someone as soon as she's ready to start dating again. There are some more comments.
Oh boy.
Mad for it says the only scenario where I would be more on your side on this one is if your country/state laws do not permit firing without just cause.
I agree.
Example as retribution for his actions in his personal life. Committing a violation against an Employee Protection Act and putting your business at risk of actual damage, not just the inconvenience of losing a good employee who you have no replacement for at the moment, is a different situation entirely. OP responds, when I manage my business, I like to look at situations objectively. Firing Josh would have been purely revenge and would hurt him, myself, his future child, who has done nothing wrong, and the rest of my employees. It also wouldn't have helped anyone. Sarah and I talked about it, and she conceded that it wouldn't have actually helped anyone or anything either. We're all good now. I'd rather focus my energies towards helping people and accomplishing goals than hurting people out of retribution, and Sarah agrees.
Okay, I guess you won this time, OP.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I was on your side kind of the whole time.
I wasn't, but it worked out for you, so
Yeah.
I was on Sarah's side, and Sarah's cool now.
I'm glad that there was like a lot of communication throughout this and figuring out and being like, you know, I feel remorseful, but like if I fire him, like
Yeah.
that's putting so many other people in a horrible position as well, you know?
That's
so
fair.
I'm glad that you kind of, you know, you had this talk, this heart to heart, and everything's good, and she's getting out and she's doing it, and you also
And you helped her.
yeah, and you helped her and you did her
I
a
did like
favor.
that.
It all worked out. Happily ever after, really.
I would still kind of give Josh a glare in the office every once in a while.
Oh, yeah. Josh, screw him. He's horrible. But anyway, that's the end of that story. And we got another one. Camarada.
I'm suspicious of my girlfriend's yoga partner because she deletes their messages.
Namaste in the DMs.
A trigger warning, forced kiss. Her 21 female and I, 22 male, have been together since high school, and we have never been with anyone else. Her and I were always very close. We really had no other friends. By the way, this comes from a throwaway, I'm really sad. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Savannah.
I'm Sophia, and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in these situations, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, all of a sudden, a few months ago, she became very social. She started making lots of friends at her CrossFit gym and got close with Adam, 45 male. Her and him became partners for a competition together, which required extensive training, sometimes going into the night, and they also became acro-yoga partners. intimate couple yoga. I was never okay with this, and I unfortunately was too nervous to speak up about it. Over time, I hinted at how I truly felt, but didn't tell her that it was not okay with me until a couple of months of this happening. Throughout this time, she and him became very close and texted nearly every day, mostly friendly stuff. I might say he was testing the waters with some flirtatious stuff, but I also could just be paranoid. Eventually, I manned up and told her that I wasn't okay with her being this close to this guy. I told her that she can be friends, but I don't want them texting like this or doing acro-yoga together. She agreed to stop both, but not too much later I found out that she was still texting him but deleting messages so I wouldn't see them. She stopped talking to him after I discovered this until she decided to attend his going away party as he was moving away. Luckily, he's gone, but if he wasn't, I imagine they would still be hanging out. Now, to me, this is screaming emotional affair. They did talk about relationship issues at times, but the fact that she is so connected to this guy that she can't stop and hides it from me crosses the line. It's been about 2 months and we have been very distant. I've been away, and we've been sitting with this. She begs me every day to come back, saying that she wants to start over, and now she sees what she did wrong. The thought of losing her hurts so badly, but I feel like I would have no self-respect if I stayed. Am I overreacting about her deleting these texts? Is this worth losing a 5-year relationship over? There is an edit, but what do you think?
Honestly, I mean, I kind of think it's emotional cheating. Like talking about your relationship to like someone else.
Yeah.
Which I do all the time. But I do it to like my friends, not like some like yoga partner.
Someone that like might be interested in you.
Yeah, someone that like is showing signs of like, I mean,
Yeah.
if she wasn't in this thing, I could probably swoop in. Like I would never like do that.
Yeah, and I think it depends on like how often you talk about your relationship problems too. Because if you're friends with someone and like all you talk about is how my relationship sucks, then it's like, okay, especially if they might be interested, then it's kind of just showing that you would just want to break
giving
up
them the
with that
green
person.
light, basically. It's like, doesn't seem like she's in a good situation. I can make it better for her.
Right.
Boom. But
Yeah.
also, the deleting the messages is really what bother me.
That would bother me too.
It's like, oh, you don't want any evidence. You are trying to hide something, obviously. That's the
Yeah.
reason you delete messages.
Yeah. But we do have an edit here. Edit. Thank you all for the advice. I'm going to try to end it when I get back to town in a couple of days. I'm terrified that I get sucked back in, but I will try not to. And we do have some comments. Comment 1 says, not overreacting, but also, why don't you have any friends who aren't the other? In a codependent relationship that's been together since high school, it makes a lot of sense that the first guy she goes to acro-yoga with, how the F did she even find a class like this, suddenly shows her that the world is much bigger than you. If you choose to leave this relationship, make communication and external relationships a priority in your next one. OP says, I have literally 0 friends. This is why it hurts me so badly. OP responds to a commenter about ending the relationship and doing what is right for himself if his girlfriend is concealing from him. OP says, this post has validated me a bit, but before this, I didn't really know if I was overreacting or not. Also, our families are very close, like very close at this point, and it would hurt many more than just her and I. Commenter 2 says, dude, that hurt that they may feel is on her. She put her relationship with that guy above yours repeatedly. She lied about it, hid, and continued it until he was gone. Not until she chose you over him, until he was no longer an option. It's only now that he's gone that she's trying to get you back. All negative consequences of her actions are hers to own, not yours. Don't be her second choice just so everyone else feels better. OP says, I honestly want to tell her parents what she did so I don't feel bad about splitting it up. I know that it's probably toxic and horrible, but this is one of my biggest reservations. Another commenter asks, is the acro-yoga partner in a relationship? OP says, no, he is divorced.
Ooh.
And we do have an update from 6 days later.
Not the divorce, so he's trying to swoop in. That's like his rebound.
Yeah, it kind of rebound with like a
Yikes.
younger girl, probably.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Riley always says this is the CrossFit, environment. It's
that
all
what
it's
happened?
Really?
Everyone
I did
starts
CrossFit in
dating?
high school and I was obsessed with it, but I never was like,
Well, I feel
wasn't
like
a lot of dating going on.
Yeah, there are a lot of dating. Apparently,
well,
Riley says
everyone
there's a
was
lot of cheating.
old. Everyone was really old doing
Yeah, well, maybe you
CrossFit.
weren't aware of it.
Well, yeah,
'Cause you were a
maybe
child.
if you did it again when you
Well,
were
my-
an adult, then
My
maybe.
high school teacher was the one who got me into it.
Oh,
But
well, I
he-
mean,
no, but he's
I
great,
mean,
though. He
Riley was in it, and I don't think he was doing anything. So like,
Yeah, it's not everyone in
it's not
CrossFit.
everyone. Yeah, it sounds similar to like a restaurant vibe.
Guys, I
where
did
it's,
one
like,
competition and I won.
Really nice. I've heard that they're like really hard.
Yeah,
That's
well,
awesome.
what I did was the girl who I was against, I counted how many like reps she did, and I always tried to just do like 1 or 2 more.
Nice.
And I'd be like, ha ha, got her.
Great. We do have an update from 6 days later. She told me I could go through her phone yesterday as there was nothing else that she was hiding. I did, and I found a text to her sister in which she said, I kissed Adam at his going away party, and shortly after, well, he kissed me. This kiss happened 2 to 3 weeks ago. Throughout these 2 to 3 weeks, she has repeatedly reassured me that nothing happened, even kissing, when I asked specifically. She said he ran down as she was leaving to say bye and kissed her. She said that she pushed him off and he instantly left, but I don't know if I can believe that. She said the kiss lasted for 1 second. I hate myself because somehow I still feel bad for breaking up with her over this. She didn't kiss him, he kissed her. She was just naive to his flirtatious behaviors that I warned her about repeatedly. Why should I punish her for what he did? But at the same time, I don't think I can ever look at her in the same way again. I don't 100% believe the story that she told me, and although I'm mostly certain that they didn't have spicy sleep, though I was mostly certain that they didn't kiss too, I feel there was a bit more behind that kiss for her than she describes. She is begging me to try again. We have been together for 5 years, high school sweethearts, and have never been with anyone else. I've had 0 friends over the past 5 years, only her. OP.
Yeah,
Don't do
that
that.
that needs to change. You got to get some people outside of your
Totally.
significant other, because
Totally.
if you're just in that, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I could never imagine. I'd hate my life.
I wish I had a bit more self-respect to just end it. I cannot imagine a life without her. Side question, I'm considering reaching out to her affair partner to let him know how much of a piece of crap he is. Is this a bad call? He knew that she was in a relationship. And there are some comments. What do we think about that one?
I don't think you even need to involve yourself in him. Like, that's,
Yeah.
as much as it is, like, that's their relationship, even though it's not, whatever. Like, you don't need to put more stress on yourself. It's not gonna, like, would that make you feel better? Is that gonna
Yeah.
solve anything? It's just gonna, like,
Yeah,
know,
because what's
you more
gonna happen?
issues.
Like, is he gonna be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you're so right." Like,
yeah,
probably not.
I doubt the guy's gonna react and be like, "Oh my god, I had no idea. She never mentioned you." Blah blah, blah
Yeah,
this stuff. Like,
he's gonna get defensive and angry, and you're just gonna get more angry in
Yeah.
response.
it
So,
just-
but we have some comments here. Comment 1 says, "Have you asked her why she chose to lie to you instead of being honest about what happened from the start? Don't reach out to that guy. That will just give him the opportunity to be rude and disrespectful to you directly. He does not care what you think of him." OP says she was trying to protect herself. She is aware of it. I am too. I get it. I understand why she wants to protect herself. She said she was planning on telling me eventually, but I honestly don't believe that. Commenter 1 says, protect herself from what? I assume she means from you? Do you have a temper? OP says, no, absolutely not from me. She doesn't want me to get mad at her. She doesn't want me to break up with her. I absolutely don't have a temper and would never lay a finger on her. Sometimes when I get really mad, like last night, I yell. That is the extent of it. Commenter 2 says, in all seriousness, no, you shouldn't reach out to the yoga partner. The one who violated your trust and lied to you is your partner. Reaching out to him will not solve anything. It is a red flag that you do not have any other friends other than her. Mistakes happen, sure, but she chose to lie to you about it for weeks. Do you really think you deserve that? OP says, I'm a very social person, but I really don't like getting close to people. Not sure why I'm this way, but yes, I do know it's a red flag. I just want to effing hurt this guy. He is an old butt man preying on my girlfriend. It's not gonna happen as he has since moved halfway across the world. I'm just horribly angry. Commenter 3 says, a kiss was forced on her. Not right of her to lie, but she's saying some guy just kissed her with no warning, which isn't really her fault. Maybe she was scared you'd get mad or do something to the guy over a kiss that, in her mind, they'd already moved on from. She still has to go to that gym, and I don't know if he has some influence over the social circle there. It might make her life harder. Plus, she went through a creepy experience, so may not want others to know. She should have told you, though. I think have a conversation about honesty in the future, and ask that she cuts off contact with that guy since he's disrespectful of both your boundaries and relationship. Edit, ugh, sorry I missed this, set an update. It's very stupid of her to stay in touch with that guy when you said no. He may or may not have forced a kiss onto her, but then she lied about it. Maybe it's all just one big innocent mistake on her part, but she's gotta learn. And you should consider moving, and she can fix her behaviors up for her next partner. You shouldn't put up with it. I get generally everything, but I just don't like the kind of conversation or the way to talk about it of like, well, you said no, so she wasn't allowed to, and she broke the rules. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like that vibe.
I don't like that either.
I'm gonna stay strong on that.
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't do that. But OP responds, he moved away a day after she kissed him. Luckily, it's mostly cut off. He still sends her Instagram memes, which makes me furious. I honestly don't believe that she didn't reciprocate the kiss. She chose this guy over me multiple times, which leads me to believe that this crush is a bit less one-sided than I thought. Thank you for your advice. Commenter 4 says, how the heck hasn't she blocked him? She is an absolute moron. Yes, of course she liked him, liked the attention, and fostered the affair. That's why he's still reaching out. Do you think if he forced her to kiss him, he'd be sending her memes? He'd be embarrassed and drop contact. I don't know about that. No, he'd send memes due to their reciprocated kiss, which shows him she's interested. I don't know, man. I really don't think that she would lie to her sister about it, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe she just didn't want to admit to even her sister that she had feelings for this guy because she knows that that's wrong. Maybe she would lie a little bit like that, but like, let's not forget what the situation would be if it was like a forced kiss. He wouldn't think it was forced, first of all, if it was a forced kiss. That guy wouldn't think it was. He would still be interested in like having a relationship and sending memes and stuff. Like, he wouldn't be embarrassed. A lot of people force kisses and are not embarrassed because they know what they're doing. Like, let's not forget. But like, I mean, there still are other issues, but let's not like blow past that, guys. Like, come on. Opie says, I am really upset that she hasn't blocked him. Thank you for highlighting the fact that if it was awkward and not reciprocated, he likely wouldn't still be reaching out. I didn't catch that before. Commenter 5 says, the way those two texts play out, that she first says she kissed him, makes me think it's something she had intended to do and he just happened to take the initiative first. I don't believe her pushed away explanation. I'm curious what her sister said in response. Was her sister aware of the context of the kiss being a shared mutual attraction or crush? Did her sister know that you thought their relationship was tainted? If she was honest with her sister about the kiss, what else was she honest with her sister about with respect to this guy that she was lying to you about? Opie says, I know, and that is why I shared both of the texts, because it really seemed like if it was forced upon her, she wouldn't say, I kissed him. That is true. She said her sister was sad because it had been such a long and good relationship. My girlfriend told her that we were broken up at the time, which we weren't. I broke up with her about a week later and then got back together a bit after that. I'm not close with her sister, but we are friends and she's very sweet. And that's the end of that story.
My ex volunteered my house for her family's funeral, so I told them to leave.
That's weird.
I have a almost 3-year-old son with my ex. He is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Almost a year ago, I filed for divorce from my ex. We have split custody, 50-50. As child support goes, I pay $900 a month plus 100% of all health care and education-related costs for our son. By the way, this comes from user DukeHale3735. And if you want to submit your stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know the things we know, so let us know the things you know down there in the comments. And OP says, my ex was at home with our son until he was about 10 months old. At that time, she wanted to go to grad school, so we had planned to put our son in daycare. My mom, who my siblings and I had been supporting, asked if she could watch our son rather than having him put in daycare. My ex was giddy at this idea, but I was a little hesitant because I wanted my mom to enjoy her retirement. But my mom and my ex very much wanted to do it, so I relented. Plus, my son absolutely loves every moment he gets to spend with his Mimi. My mom has continued to be the primary caretaker of our son when my ex and I are working. My ex, whom I mostly co-parent with wants our son to go to daycare. But my ex can't afford daycare at all, so she wants me to pay for it. I refuse. Our son still absolutely loves going to his Mimi's house. My siblings have kids that our mom looks after, and so my son gets a lot of time with his cousins. My mom still loves doing it. Plus, she was an educator and is bilingual and is doing an amazing job in that department as well. I check in with her to make sure she still wants to do it because I don't want her to be overwhelmed. Plus, the daycare here would cost about $250 to $300 a week. So, I refuse. My ex says this setup makes my family have undue influence over our son's development. If that was a concern, she has never expressed that until now. Plus, why would our son being under the influence of strangers at daycare be better? This has been a point of contention for about the last month. Am I the a-hole? And we have some comments, but Carly.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it. It makes perfect sense to just keep your son in the free mom-cousin daycare.
Yeah, it sounds like to me like she's projecting what her family would do to the
Yeah.
kid, which is clearly like, yes, your dad is the worst and your mom is the best and
Right.
everyone hates your dad and so should you.
And obviously that's not what's happening.
Right. But she thinks that's what would have to happen because that's what would happen if her family was the one watching the baby.
I am wildly confused as to how this is about to become a funeral.
Yeah, let's keep digging. Comments. Scootex6643 says, not the a-hole. Lots of people would love for their kids to have daily time with grandparents and cousins in a safe environment. That sounds like a huge win for your child, not some influence problem. And Unexpectedly Tired replies, both parents trust OP's mom. It's free. She was an educator. She can teach the children another language. There will be socialization. It's a perfect solution. House of Bridget 11 says, you're taking OP's word that both parents trust her and think this is a good environment. There was a similar setup with my in-laws and the cousins when my kids were little, and I insisted they go to a professional, licensed, fully staffed daycare. I would not be comfortable with my toddler being cared for by one elderly woman who was also caring for several other children full-time. There could also be other factors that the mother has concerns about. For example, perhaps the kid is not well supervised. The grandmother is a religious fanatic. She spanks the kids, etc. Perhaps they badmouth the mother openly. Perhaps the cousins are violent or bad influences. There are many, many situations where licensed childcare is better than the free family alternative. OP replies, my ex insisted that we utilize my mom for childcare. Throughout our marriage, she continued to insist we use my mom for childcare. From 10 months old until he was 25 months, my mom was our child care, and my ex expressed nothing but gratitude and appreciation for it. I was the only one who had expressed any type of trepidation about it at any time. When I filed for divorce and my ex was trying to get me to reconsider, for us to go to counseling, etc., she never expressed any issues with my mom being child care. She continued to express to me and to my mom how appreciative she was for my mom providing child care for our son. It is only after the divorce was finalized a few months back that she first expressed any type of concern. And the only concern expressed to me is undue influence. And the only basis I have been given for that concern is the amount of time our son spends with my mom. Nevertheless, she still continues to utilize my mom for childcare. In fact, she uses my mom for childcare more than I do. There is an update from 3 months later.
If she's so adamant about childhood before, I don't know what's changed, just except for y'all are divorced now.
She just feels like
Yeah.
somehow she's going to become second place.
Which, like, no, that's not going to happen. Especially if you guys are very amicable about everything with, like, your child.
My ex and I got divorced earlier this year. When we were married, we bought her grandmother's house. This house was built in the 1910s and had been in my ex's family since then. It is quite large. It was de facto the house where my ex's family would stay when they came into town for anything, which continued after our purchase of the house and was part of my decision to divorce her. When we bought it, we primarily used my premarital savings and inheritance. That was 5-ish years ago. When we got divorced, the court determined that the bulk of the house, 90%, belonged to me in accordance with our post-nup agreement. My ex tried a number of scenarios where she would keep the house or it would go into a trust for our kid, so it would stay in the family. The only thing I would agree to is selling the house, her buying me out or me buying her out. We went with the latter because my ex did not have the money to buy me out. The day after Christmas, my ex's grandmother passed away. She was sick for years, and the reason we bought the house is because she could no longer live on her own and desperately needed the money for end-of-life care. Anyway, yesterday afternoon, my ex's cousin shows up at the house with his family. He drove into town for the funeral on Thursday. Apparently, he and his sister texted my ex and said they would be staying at the house, which is the inside family term for my house, and she indicated she was okay with that. I called my ex and asked her why she volunteered my house for hosting people. She apologized and said she had been running around getting things done for the funeral, but she asked if I would be willing to host because they really do not have space for people without using the house. I told her no, and that they need to get hotels or whatever else arrangements. She said they don't have the money to get everyone hotels and people are struggling financially. that there's plenty of extra room in the house and they could just be in the finished basement with their own bathroom, kitchen, entry, and exit. I told her no. She got quite upset and hung up on me. I told the cousin that his family that they cannot stay. Am I the a-hole? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially given the stipulation that it's like, it's a real big house. They could have an entire finished floor with everything that they need. They have their own entry and
Including-
exit.
yeah.
Would not even bother you in any way. They're not here to go to an amusement park. They're here for a funeral.
Right.
So,
And it was still your family
Yeah.
for a little bit, even if you're not like married to their
right.
daughter anymore. Like,
Not to mention a funeral of the person whose house you bought. The house that you are in right now was her house before you bought it from her because she needed to pay for the end of her life.
oh yeah, buddy.
So
You need hope for that one.
now, is she also like in the wrong for springing this on you instead of like bringing it to you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
but like, yeah, you're gonna
So
be in the
many
wrong
easy
here.
Things.
You're-
Like it's like
yeah.
basically a whole duplex of a house. You'd never have to even deal with that.
Yeah, if you were hosting 6 people in a 1-bedroom, I'd be like, yeah, that's what are we talking about? But
Massive house, finished basement, separate entry door.
yeah, not great. You can be completely in the right and still be an a-hole, and I think this is that situation. Like you are
Yeah.
entirely within your right to
It's
be
your
like,
house.
you can't stay here, but that does kind of come across as a bit of an a-hole move there. Anyway, this is an edit. People seem to be assuming the house was discounted to us when we bought it. It was not. It had been on the market for a year and the price had been decreased multiple times with no offers for the listed price at any point. We bought it for the initial price it was listed for, which was the appraisal price. My personal preference was that my ex buy me out of the house. She did not have the money to do so. My next preference was to sell the house, but my ex begged me to keep it, so I agreed to do so. Edit 3, the trust idea she had would mean putting the house in a trust with a life estate to me and the remainder to my son. This would effectively prohibit me from selling the house. I have no intentions of selling right now, but I refuse to put myself in a position where I cannot sell in the future if I decide I need to do so. But I do have a trust for my son now, who's 3 years old, where he will inherit my assets at the time that I pass away. Comments from Ownword 7693 says, asking for info, why did hosting the family contribute to the divorce? Also, was she a stay-at-home mom? OP says her family would show up whenever and however they wanted, and generally would make a mess, and generally were rude and mean to me. Because of this, when we bought the house, one of my conditions was that it would be treated like our home rather than the family house. We have a 3-year-old son. While we were married, before our son was conceived or born, she was going to school and working part-time. I paid all the expenses. After our son was born, she continued to go to school and work part-time. I continued to pay all expenses. We waited until he was 10 months old until he started going full-time to my mom's house. My son was born in October of 2022. At that time, my ex was finishing a second undergraduate degree with a graduation set for May 2022. My ex finished the degree in May of that year, and during my son's first 10 months, if my ex had class or had to work or anything, either I would be home with our son or my mom would watch him, or we would get a babysitter. The house had caused fights and threats of lawsuits between her family before we bought. And she was asking me to spend 70% plus of my share of the inheritance my father spent 45 years building for my siblings and I. So yes, I asked for a postnup. Sounds like it was a smart thing to do. Fake bot simp says, sounds like your wife has maybe not told her family that the house isn't owned by her anymore. I didn't even think about that. That's probably true. They're probably not even aware that it is just your house.
Yeah, I can see that.
Lane 205 replies, this is probably it right here. She may have thought if she could sneak this one by, no one would be visiting anymore with grandma gone, and they would never need to know that she lost their house. Nujochi Waji says, well, the family can put up the money together and buy it from OP collectively. The audacity of some people. Sammy Safra 4532 says she didn't even ask. People just showed up on your door that she had already told could stay in your house. You're not the a-hole. Radon Arsene says probably because she knew the answer. Maybe she hoped OP would buckle under the social pressure. And Hokage says, your post said, cousin asked your wife, and she said yes, they could stay. She would never have said that if she had told you that you were not invited. Unless she asked you to look after the baby, and that is different than not invited. Nobody is dumb enough, no matter how dumb they are, to think they would tell their ex they are not invited to her family funeral while asking them to host their family for said funeral. Nobody. So yes, I don't believe you. Clearly, you were told not invited after said episode, which is logical. The biggest issue for what you did, other than be a complete a-hole with zero empathy in a moment of great need, is you nuked your relationship with your son's mom's side of the family. Of course, you could be okay with that, but it will have repercussions on your relationship with your ex in the future, which will impact your son. OP replies, I am not invited. You know my ex okayed people to stay at my house without checking with me at all, right? Like not calling or texting whatsoever. Why would you think it would be a faux pas in her mind to invite them to stay if I'm not invited to the funeral? My ex does not care at all about decorum here. You would think no one is dumb enough to invite family to stay with their ex for at least 4 nights without checking with their ex, but that is what happened and why I made this post. There is nothing logical about anything my ex did here, but you are free to believe what you want and ignore inconvenient facts. There's a lot of that going around. Still Wafer 3185 says, I'm saying that in a shared property state, a judge doesn't just grant a post-nup awarding all marital assets to one spouse. This guy sounds bitter and spiteful. And OP clarifies, the house was not a marital asset. I used premarital assets, premarital savings and inheritance to buy it, renovate, and pay taxes, and pay HOA fees for the home throughout the marriage. In the postnuptial agreement, I granted her 10% of the home, but I paid for 100% of it with premarital assets. The postnup also clarified it was not a marital asset. The court did award her half of the marital assets, which was the checkings and savings account and mutual fund, and I also gave her a car that I bought pre-marriage, but she had driven throughout the marriage. I was ordered to pay her $12,000 in alimony, $500 a month for 2 years. I paid her the full $12,000 up front. She also received the 10% of the home. All in all, she walked away with over $100,000 in cash, roughly around $130K total, along with household goods and a car.
I missed some things from the story that those comments just like threw me off for those.
You are the comments saying
were
that you're an
weird.
a-hole because like you of how you handled like the post-nup are crazy. You're just an a-hole because you weren't able to just for like one brief period be like, well, your grandma is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can stay here for the funeral, but you won't be staying here anymore.
Yeah. I can understand the initial shock of like, hey, why are y'all at my door right now?
Yeah, and
But
that's
then
just
like
on your
hearing the
ex.
story, I feel like you just really wanted to make a point against your ex, and it's like hearing the story, maybe we could have let them stay.
Yeah, I think you deal with this in the moment and then you make it clear like, hey,
What
in the
heck?
future, if you need someone to come stay in town and you want them to stay here, you have to ask me.
Right.
And I might say no.
Right.
And you have to accept that.
But you're totally valid in also turning them away because it is your house. But like, it's your old family. I don't know.
It just does. It's not necessarily wrong, but it does.
He's a little
It does
stinky.
feel a little a-hole-ish. If they were coming into town for like a convention, it'd be like, well, no, why would I? No, you can't do that. But it's like, okay, you're here for your funeral. Okay, yeah, let's not also make this a financially hard time.
Yeah.
Having to buy hotels and everything. It's already hard emotionally. But we have another update
Great.
from 3 weeks later. A number of people have asked for an update, and not much has happened until a few days ago. On Saturday, one of my ex's cousins, not the ones who showed up at my door, we will call him Dave, texted me. As you probably guessed from my original post, I do not have the best relationship with my ex's family. This was true while we were together. However, I did have a good rapport with this particular cousin. Apparently, my ex and a number of the other family members had been talking bad about me in the family group chat. Dave reached out to get my side of things, but understood if I didn't want to talk. I called him and relayed much of what I said in my original post and comments to him. What I learned from my conversation with Dave is that my ex told her family after the divorce that she still co-owned the house with me, which is a lie. That I do not abide by the court's order regarding expenses for our son, and that she cannot afford a lawyer to fight me on it, another lie. I set the record straight for him on both accounts. I own 100% of the house and bought her out of the 10% share. I also pay 100% of the medical costs and childcare and education costs for our son as ordered by the court. I also pay more than the court-ordered amount for child support. We talked a little bit more to catch up, and I thought nothing of it. Apparently, Dave decided to share the details of our conversation in the family group chat. Did we not think that that was going to happen?
He does have to let the family know.
He literally reached out to you for your side of the story. Like, he's
Which,
not
like,
just going to...
pop off. Good job, Dave.
If we didn't want to get mixed up, we needed to tell Dave, hey, keep this between you and I, because I don't even want to be involved in whatever drama you guys got. You guys can keep that, but just know that you got that from me, and that's the truth. Please leave me out of this. But on Monday, I got an angry, long text from my ex about what Dave said in the group chat, and that she wanted to talk. We talked yesterday. She expressed how frustrated she is with everything, that she was and still is willing to do whatever it takes to make our relationship work. She said if I'm not willing to try to make it work, the least I could do is work with her so she can pay me off over time for the house, put the house in a trust for our son so it stays in the family, and not badmouth her to her family. I reiterated that there are no circumstances under which I would want to be with her, the least of which is that she is actively lying about me and our divorce to her family. I also restated that I will not let her pay me off for the house because it will take her decades to even pay me back for how much money I've put into the house, even if there was no interest. I will not put it in a trust because the type of trust she wants is specifically designed to prevent me from selling the house in the future if I need to do so. I also stated that I did not ask Dave to share any of our conversation, and everything I said to him was 100% factual. By the way, it's 100% factual that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on your favorite podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. And we have a little bit left of this story here. You don't want to get back together. You don't want to get back together.
It's pretty straight up. Y'all got divorced.
And she's mad at you, but you're like, I didn't even say anything untrue. I just set the record straight.
Girly pop, you were the one lying.
You're out here saying how you do anything to get back together with me. It's like, maybe just stop lying to your family about how awful I am. We can start there. But it's not happening. I told her, moving forward, I am doing no more than what I am legally obligated to do for her. I will only pay the child support amount that is legally required and not a cent more. I will put the extra I was paying towards the money I was already setting aside for our son. If she wants to buy the house, she can at fair market value. But I will sell the house if or when I feel it is appropriate for myself and our son, regardless of what her or her family wants. If or when I sell it, I will get the highest price possible, regardless of whether that person is part of my ex's family. And if her family keeps being a problem about the house, it will probably be sooner rather than later. She left mad, but that's where things stand. And there are some comments. Bulbasaur Ranch says, good for you. This was a nice update. I hope she felt embarrassed having her lies called out in the group chat like that. Ninja Pixie says she won't feel shame or embarrassment, just anger at being called out publicly. Trove of Catastrophe says, wow, I can't believe she signed a postnuptial that only gave her 10%. Was it time or condition based? Did you both have separate lawyers look it over? How long were you married? So many questions. Did she work? Did all of her family take Dave's version over hers? OP says, she put up none of her own money to pay for the house. It's like the fact she even got 10% is was nice. She didn't spend any money on the house. Yes, we had separate lawyers. Not time or condition based. We were married almost 6 years. She worked part-time and went to school, which I paid for. I have no idea what version the family believed. And that is the end
Ooh.
of that story.
Well, she's a little liar. I think her pants are on fire.
Liar, liar, plants for hire. I heard that. I
Oh.
know that's right. A lot of people really concerned
Yeah. That
about
got real crazy real fast.
that post-nuptial. It's like, it feels like we did that one perfectly.
Yeah.
I just want to know why they broke up. Why they really, really broke up. Like, why he's like, I'm
What
so
was the reason for the divorce?
locked in for not getting back together
Yeah.
with you, no matter what.
Give us all the juicy details.
My husband had a dream about his ex-crush, so we planned a date with her.
What?
My 30 female husband, 30 male, and I are together for almost a decade, most of it married. Happily, all caps. We've grown so much together and built the perfect life and relationship for us. We trust each other, and there are no icks or uncertainties between us when we talk to our opposite gender friends. By the way, this comes from Dear Diary. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments, please.
Police.
And Opie says, he had a very big crush on a girl from his high school for 3 long years.
3 long years.
He eventually confessed then and received a rejection as the girl told him she doesn't feel the same and she most probably likes girls more. Still no certainty. He continued to be friends with her after the rejection, and then after school they stopped talking. All of a sudden, my husband wakes up today and says he saw her in a dream after 15 years and immediately wanted to find her on social media to see what she's doing with her life and what she has become. He finds her and texts her, just casual, "Hi, how are you? Just was thinking about high school and wanted to search for schoolmates here, etc., etc. Then let's meet and catch up sometime this week."
Hey, why?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Cool your jets.
Why are we doing this?
Stop it. And he tells me about this only several hours later in the car when he's back from out of town. He says, "Don't freak out. Here's the deal. I feel nothing about her now, and I'm going to meet her just to catch up."
I feel nothing about her now until we catch up, and then I'm going to fall in love with her again.
And I will kiss her.
Adding the now is wild.
Yeah. I want to know what you think about it. I initially was shocked, then slowly was coming to terms with that when he says, "You trust me, right? I gave too much to build all this with you, and I really value it to lose it because of something like this. So it's just a catch-up meeting. And if I realize I feel something, I will immediately stop any communication after that. On the other hand, if I realize she's a great person and I don't feel anything about her, I may stay friends with her because I also want a new person to talk to, like you have all these guys you talk to."
I don't think all their guy friends were her high school crushes.
So he just said, 1, if I feel something, I'll cut all contact. So there's a possibility that I'll feel something and he's going to go meet this girl.
This is just a really weird move. Weird all around. Really, really weird.
Yikes. Just to mention, every guy I generally talk to, not daily basis, is either his friend, my married coworkers, or just old friends from former job or colleges who I never had crush on or had been pursued by. We're getting into Neanderthal talk.
Pursuit. Bonk.
I
Take
never
you
had
back.
crush on or had been pursued by.
I have never been bonked and taken back to his cave.
I eventually told him that it's okay to meet once, and as I know her, I got acquainted with her 15 years ago. She's a sweet girl, and she knows me. He could tell that we are happily married, so that there's no possibility that the girl thinks it's a date or something. But as I went to sleep, I started to analyze and overthink everything.
I don't even think there's a way to overthink this. It's very,
No.
like, straightforward.
So straightforward. He just told you that he had a dream about a girl he used to like, and that he might still like her, and he's going to go figure that out.
all of the stuff he explicitly told you is the stuff that would maybe be overthinking.
Yeah.
If he hadn't told you, that's exactly
told you
what
that
he's
outright.
thinking.
I realized I would think 100 times before writing to my former crush, let alone ask him to meet me. I realized I would be okay with it if it were any other girl, including one that had a crush on him, but not a person that he was in love with for a long 3 years.
A long
Not a short 3 years, a long one. And was telling me about her with sparkles in his eyes when we were young and just friends. I couldn't sleep whole night, imagining all that could go wrong from that one meetup in branching realities.
Branching.
You gotta branch those realities.
Oh, you turn into a great branching.
My afterthought that stayed was, why would he want to stir things up when they are the most quiet? Even if he doesn't have any feelings now. It's possible that the spark is reignited, right? Why? I don't know. Your husband's weird.
Yeah, he had a dream and he woke up and he was like, you know what? I might just throw away my whole marriage of 15 years.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I told him my thoughts in the morning after a completely sleepless night. He got immediately so mad that I couldn't sleep because of such a tiny, irrelevant matter. That I sacrificed my health for things that didn't happen yet and wouldn't happen.
What?
Huh?
What's happening
Huh?
here? Somehow he's getting mad at you now?
Yeah. He started yelling that I don't trust him.
He started yelling?
Because you
we're
couldn't
done.
sleep?
We're done. At this point, you just go, you know what? Go reignite whatever spark you want. I'll get my stuff. I'm leaving the house.
And I'm going to ignite that on the way out.
I'm going to go find some boys that I had crushes on.
Uh-huh. And that my overthinking is a big problem. And I should not decide who he wants to meet and text. I said I should when it affects me and the relationship. He said that if so, he will from now on refuse to let me meet any of my guy friends to show me how controlling my behavior feels. This man is crazy. On my remark that I had not been in deep love for 3 years with any of them, he said, Jesus, it was 15 effing years ago.
Exactly. So why are you so hell-bent on recovering this relationship out of nowhere?
Also, you specifically said if you feel any feelings, you'd cut it off. So there's a possibility. Anyway, we had a big fight with tears and all. His last remark was, you became the woman I was happy you weren't, in terms of sick jealousy. That hurt
I
deeply.
would have laughed so hard.
What?
You became the woman I was hoping you weren't.
Huh?
What? You want to run that one by me again, big guy?
And added, this topic is closed. I won't text her anymore and not meet her. As you wish. By the way, I wish that you would listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a teeny weeny tiny bikini left of this story.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This is immediate grounds for at least separation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like massive amounts of therapy. Because this is not okay. But if you're okay with it, I'm going to finish the story. The thing is, if not for such things like telling me about his plans to stay connected with her, refusing to show me what they texted initially, and later showed, and even changing his 5-year-old cringy username to a normal thing before writing her to make an impression, I would agree with the meetup and not have a second thought about it until later. But he behaved like an excited 15-year-old with those actions. I also think I really overdid my imagination. Man, is it possible that this is an innocent thing and he is right? No.
Not if he literally said that. No.
Is it possible that this will not lead to anything worse?
Yes, but it's crazy that he's like willing to roll the dice on it.
If I set clear boundaries versus if I let him be, what could be the outcome? It surely feels like midlife crisis, like he wants to check if she'll want him now, as he got better, fitter, and good looking. I don't know, I'm confused, help me. Massive amounts of therapy and maybe separation.
I think you got it. It's not even that like necessarily the action, but it's like the intention and
and also the reaction.
attitude behind it.
The reaction towards your response.
His attitude being like, oh, then I guess you won't ever see any guy friends again. First of all, hello, you can't make me do that. Second of all, not the same thing at all. I've never been in love with any of these guys. Half of them are your friends, stupid. What are you talking about?
It's ridiculous.
My husband wanted a new car before me, even though I sacrificed everything.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have sacrificed enough money to buy your own car.
I bought my car new and have had it for 10 years, since before my husband and I met. When my husband and I met, he was driving a junker. After we were married, I co-signed with him so he could get a better vehicle. By the way, this comes from Puzzled Car 2827. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. NOP says, we have since bought a house and had a child. Our house needed a major fix shortly after purchase, so I forfeited what was going to be my new car money and took out a loan to make the repair. I found out I was pregnant around the same time and gave birth early last year. I pay all of the daycare costs, $400 and $500 a month, and do all of the afternoon pickups. My husband does the morning drop-offs. My husband just totaled his car. It's under my policy, so I'm dealing with all of that. We have a very temporary rental and are waiting on insurance to let us know the next step and possibly cut us a check. The plan as of now is to use the check to pay off the remaining balance of the totaled car's loan and use the rest as a down payment on a new vehicle. However, we're at an impasse. I think I should get the new vehicle since I forfeited my new car money already and I'm driving an aging vehicle. He thinks he should get the new vehicle since he is uncomfortable in mine, and he says I can use our tax refund as a down payment on a new vehicle for myself come tax time if we have no major house repairs. We need a new roof and need to start upgrading the windows, and I don't think we should have 2 car payments going at the same time. He doesn't think it's fair that we should have to take turns getting new cars. This would be his 3rd vehicle since we met. I feel like I could be the a-hole in this situation because my credit is better than his, and he will need my co-signature to get a new vehicle. Am I the a-hole for thinking I should only co-sign if the new car is for me? And we have a verdict on some comments, but what say you with your newfound information?
Why don't you guys just get a car you both like?
Take turns driving it?
I think if your car is 10 years old, you should probably be able to drive it for another 10 years before
Depends
you
on the
need
type,
a new
yeah.
one. Like,
My parents-
realistically,
Yeah, my parents take turns getting new cars, though. So, like, it would be her turn to get a car.
I think a brand new car is the biggest scam on earth. I think you can always buy used.
Yeah.
And I think you should really always buy. As someone who made this mistake last year, you should buy a used Toyota.
Because if you buy a used Tesla, you might lose your bumper on the highway.
It's just truly the best cars you could ever buy are Toyotas.
And here's some comments, but first, we have OP on what caused the accident to the car her husband was driving. He swerved to avoid a possum on a curve, went up the embankment, and struck the pole.
Now, folks, people are going to come at me for this. Run that possum over.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
obliterate that thing.
People get more car damage from trying to swerve or, like, slow down to avoid an animal than they do if you just ram through it. And it's very hard to override that instinct. I know. But you will get significantly more damage if you react to that animal.
You got to just...
You gotta.
Mm.
What kind of car does OP have, and why does her husband not want to drive it? OP says it's a Rio. He's a heavier guy. He feels cramped in it. Any available public transportation in OP's area that her husband can take? OP says, unfortunately, we live in a rural area without public transportation. Commenter 1 says, not the a-hole. Your husband is very entitled. He can have your old vehicle and you get a new one. Why should he be the only one to get a new car? Was the accident that totaled the vehicle his fault? Why has he had 3 cars since your marriage? OP says he was found at fault for the accident and given a ticket.
Dang, they even gave him a ticket?
That sucks. There were no other vehicles or people involved, thank goodness, but he did take out a utility pole. If he got this new one, then it would be his 3rd vehicle. The first was very old, and the issues it had were getting worse, and the second is the one he just totaled. Commenter 2 says you already co-signed on 1 car for your husband. You took out a loan to repair your co-owned house. You pay the daycare costs for your daughter. Apparently you also pay for car insurance. Your husband needs to start pulling his weight financially, not the a-hole. OP says he does pay the mortgage and main house bills, but I cover our day-to-day with daycare, groceries, health, and car insurance. He would have to make the car payments for the new car as I'm completely unable to. Commenter 3 says, info. When he says he's uncomfortable in yours, what does that mean? because there's a scale from he doesn't really like it to him driving it could be an accident or injury risk. Have you considered alternate ideas, such as using the new car money to get 2 slightly older but still good vehicles? Opie says he's a bigger guy and feels cramped and a bit squished in my car. The totaled car was a good bit roomier. I've been pricing vehicles, and used cars don't seem worth the cost right now when you take into account the age, mileage, and cost. A new car with a good warranty is only a few grand more and seems to be the better investment to me, but I'm still open to something different.
That actually is fair. Yeah, I forgot that there was the used car market used to be absolutely mental.
Yeah.
And it still kind of is, but.
Commenter 4, not the a-hole. He can't be the only one profiting from your good credit and savings. At the very least, the new car should be the one you both pick and get to use. Delaying getting a new car for yourself, especially if you can't get one come tax time, will only lead to you harboring resentment. I speak from experience. Opie says, I have no savings, unfortunately. I am check to check. We plan to get the same type of vehicle that he totaled, as it was comfortable for all of us and roomy for our child. If he were to get this vehicle, I would really only get a chance to drive it if we go somewhere on a weekend. I'm feeling stubborn about this and really having trouble with feeling second fiddle. What's OP's husband's solution on getting both him and her new cars? OP says his solution is that he would get the new vehicle now, and I could use our next tax return as a down payment on a new vehicle for myself, so long as we have no major house issues to be fixed. Yeah, except for the fact that in the same sentence for that, you already had house issues to be fixed. Like, he's saying this knowing that y'all need a new roof and stuff.
Yeah. That's, again, let's focus on the priorities.
I argue that this won't fly, since we need a new roof and to start upgrading our old windows. OP on our husband and hers commute. OP says our commutes are almost identical, at 40 and 43 minutes one way. We both work full-time 5 days a week. Comment 5. Your car insurance is also going to go up, since he's at fault. So is he going to pay you for those costs? And hopefully you have enough limits to pay for the utility pole. If not, that company could come to you for the difference. At least in California, where I am from, Southern California, Edison does not F around when it comes to their damaged property. They will take a penny a month from you, but they will collect until they get all their money. Opie says, I just found out that our limit will completely cover the utility pole, so that is fortunate. And we have an update 10 months later. So I think we're going to get the solution that they
I wonder
came
what
across.
car they got.
Okay, take your guess. Who got the car?
I think husband got the car.
I do, unfortunately.
I think
also
husband got the car, but they figured it out for it to work for both of them.
Yeah, I think they figured out a way around the windows, but they didn't want 2 car payments. I don't know. Maybe she sold her car and got husband a really good used car, and then she got the new car. 10 months later, I posted about 9 months ago asking for judgment and was completely overwhelmed with comments. I sincerely thank everyone who commented and told me that the financial situation in my marriage was wacky, and I wasn't entirely wrong for wanting the newer car. At some point, I realized that I felt like a married single mother. For reasons mostly unrelated to my posting, we are getting a divorce.
Oh! Dang. Okay. For reasons unrelated to my posting.
My son and I left our house within a week of my post. We are living with family now, and my son has blossomed into a happy, talkative toddler. Since I paid all of the car insurance, I received an incredibly generous check for almost $8,000 after the totaled car was paid off. I sent $7,000 to my now ex so that he could get a vehicle without me. He got his own car insurance as well. I am still covering his health insurance until everything is finalized. I'm still driving my old car and keep hoping that it lasts me a while longer. I got a new job with a great raise, but my daycare cost doubled when I moved, so everything sort of evened out. I hope to get a new vehicle this year, though. I hope that you guys listen to more full episodes with stories just like this one this year and next year and the year after that, and keep going and going and going. Just go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Search up OK Storytime. Wow.
I didn't anticipate full-blown divorce.
No one guessed divorce.
But it sounds like it wasn't even about the financials or anything. It sounds like it was about their son. Because OP laid that comment about, like, now my son has blossomed into a talkative toddler. I feel like maybe husband was just a bad dad. Husband could have been a real bad dad.
Yeah.
putting down the kiddo, and which, yeah, leave that guy. Leave that guy. Like, I like that.
If I thought the argument over a new car was tough, the argument over the house we shared and child support has been an entirely different breed of tough. I have a wonderful attorney, though, and he has been an excellent source of advice. All in all, my son and I are absolutely thriving and happy. I feel like an enormous weight has been lifted from my shoulders, and I look forward to our future. We have some relevant comments. Commenter, why did you give your ex the $7K? Should have kept it for the childcare, especially if he's giving you a hard time with the house and child support. Opie says, as a show of good faith, I didn't want to get sued for the money. And that's the end of that story. Yeah, I mean, the $7K kind of makes sense if he was paying you back for some of the insurance stuff.
Yeah.
I let him get a new
I mean, he
car.
was in the accident.
Yeah,
He did save that possum's life.
maybe.
A $7,000 possum life.
Crazy.
But yeah, no, just as a good faith, like, here's the
Yeah.
$7K, just
Get a
use
new car,
that,
I'm
get
done
a
with
car,
you.
whatever. But I just, yeah, I assume he
Yeah.
was bad dad.
I demanded my independence from my parents, and it made them angry. Well, yeah. I, female 19, live with my parents, and we have been having more and more intense fights, especially with my dad. I genuinely do not know if I'm the problem, or if this situation has just completely spiraled. It feels like every argument adds another layer of confusion, and I'm constantly questioning myself. I do not know where things started going wrong, or if they ever really felt right to begin with. By the way, this comes from throwaway24, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. Some background. I graduated high school at 16. I tried studying twice after that and quit both times. High school was really rough for me, and I was in therapy for a while where I was diagnosed with BPD. My parents also attended therapy sessions, mostly without me. Therapy stopped when I turned 18 because it was youth only, and obviously I am no longer in treatment now. After I quit my first study, my parents pushed me to work full-time, which I understand. The same thing happened again when I quit my second one. I struggled to find a job for a while, and I got rejected or ghosted a lot, which caused constant fights at home. It felt like every rejection added more tension between us. Eventually, I found a job I actually really love. I work from about 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. It pays well, and it fits my natural schedule since I sleep and eat late. I finally feel stable and happy with my work. Yesterday, though, I found out my dad hates it because it's not a 9 to 5. He says my lifestyle's not normal, and that my job is only feeding my bad habits. Hearing that felt like the rug was pulled out from under me. He often tells me he does not believe I have a future. He basically makes it seem like I will end up a bum who smokes devil's lettuce and leeches off my parents. This obviously hurts a lot to hear from your dad. It hurts even more because I've offered to help with a lot, even things like bills. I have a boyfriend I adore, close friends, and a solid support system. I don't feel like I'm failing at life at all. I just do not fit his idea of normal. Another thing that keeps happening is that my parents say my tone is rude or aggressive even when I feel calm and normal. When I ask what I'm doing wrong so I can fix it, they refuse to explain. They tell me to just think or just be normal.
So like OP's like, okay, well, how can I improve? I don't know. Think about it.
Saying, I don't know, be normal.
Just be normal. What is
Crazy.
normal? What does that mean?
Especially talking to someone who's obviously clearly struggled with
Yes.
emotions that they are probably like all over the place sometimes,
Yeah.
who's actively not able to get treatment right now for it.
Parents kind of suck.
I have even asked them to record me so I can hear it myself. They say that's crazy and they get even angrier. This leaves me feeling confused and like I'm constantly doing things wrong without knowing what they are. Recently, I asked my dad for help returning a package. My parents often complain that I never ask for help. I was sick at the time and I could barely speak, which made me very annoyed. I was a bit snappy, but nothing extreme. My parents reacted as if I had been extremely rude. My mom said nobody cared about my package and that it was a wonder my dad was even helping me. Then she went to bed. I completely understand why she was so annoyed, because she's always stuck in between me and my dad. She obviously gets sick of being the mediator. Still, the situation kept escalating after that. My dad got angrier and angrier when I kept asking what I'd done wrong. At one point, while walking behind me, He angrily flipped my ponytail multiple times and shoved a large stack of towels into me. When I asked him to stop, he said things like, "Why would I stop?" He told me he was being childish because I was being childish.
Yes, the best way to handle any sort of conflict is to match their energy.
I cannot go to my mother about this because she was not there and would be very confused about why I'm taking flipping my hair so seriously. He often accuses me of being manipulative and only thinking about myself. He always says I'm ruining the family and our bond, and sometimes even his life. He also gets angry that I spend a lot of time in my room. He hates that I do not want to eat dinner with my parents every night. According to him, I'm not normal in general.
This feels, and this is for my Invincible fans out there, this feels like Eve with her parents. Just like being so wildly different and incapable of understanding each other. And I think the only way to get out of this is to leave.
I'm kind of wondering, because we didn't get the entire backstory on why her parents were in therapy, and BPD is pretty hereditary, although usually passed between mom and daughter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something there that's undiagnosed for him and he's not doing anything about it. I still go on all holidays with them at 19. I'm expected to eat with them and talk about everything. We are an insanely close family. My friends think our level of closeness is unusual. My dad insists this is normal and that I'm the problem. That makes me feel even more isolated and unsure of myself. I don't want to completely fall out with my parents, especially since we still have trips planned.
Like, I don't want to completely cut off my parents because we're going to Hawaii next week.
And Hawaii's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, so I guess I can handle this for a little bit longer.
I guess I can cut them off after Hawaii.
Yeah.
Well, no, because then we're going to England.
Yeah, damn. And then it's Thailand. I'll do it next year.
I just want some independence. I want to understand what I'm doing wrong without everything turning bad again. I love them both so much. I don't want to ruin anything. I just want to feel at home, but it doesn't feel like that. I do not know if it ever did. Everything is so confusing that I needed an outside perspective. Edit, I honestly did not expect this many comments. I want to say that I cannot just move out.
Oh.
There is a huge housing crisis in my country. I have 30-year-old cousins who have been seriously struggling to find a place. I'm looking into it, but unless I become the luckiest person ever, I will still have to live with my parents for a while. We have an update. I talked to my mother for a bit while we were both ill, just lying in bed together. She was really annoyed on the day it happened and said I start things a lot. She agreed she will record me, or record herself acting like me afterward. That's a terrible idea.
She's like, I'm going to reenact what you did. Flip my ponytail.
Yeah.
And then I said,
OP, if you want someone to record these conversations, I think you should take charge of that.
yeah.
I told her how much impact my dad's words have on me. It's my dad. I've heard a lot of childish and mean things from him, which gets stuck in my head. And by the way, I want it to get stuck in your head that you can go listen to more full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts, search up OK Storytime. We've got just a little bit left.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Sounds like maybe a good conversation to come.
Yeah.
I told my mother I've been wanting to move out. She said, "You think you'll have it better somewhere else?" And I said, "Yeah, in some ways." She started talking about finances and said she cannot stop me and will support me. I think my parents are a little scared of me leaving. They like to spoil me, even when I say I don't need anything. I cried for a bit and we cuddled. I know my dad is going to act normal again because he's fine when he's not mad. It just hurts how much his behavior affects me. I'm looking at places to move with a friend right now, half joking.
Don't half joke.
Why are we half joking?
Let's not half joke. Let's actually move
Let's
out.
full do.
Your relationship will improve so much with your family. Like, that's like a 98.5% guarantee. That's like a 95% guarantee.
Yeah, I agree. Also, check if your job has insurance that gives you therapy, because I think working through this and maybe just like you have BPD, like just keep going.
My girlfriend compared me to her ex over a dipping sauce.
What does that even mean?
I, 26 male, was hanging out with my girlfriend of almost a year, 25 female, the other night at my apartment. We were watching a movie marathon and had ordered some food off Grubhub. By the way, this comes from non-FGF, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Savannah,
I'm Sophia.
and we're here to give some good advice, goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We want to know what you would do in this situation because we're going to tell you what we would do. All right? Cool. And break, as OP says. After the order arrived, I looked in the bag and said, "Dang it, they forgot my blue cheese dressing for my wings." It wasn't a huge deal, so I just shrugged and said, well, whatever, and sat down to eat. My girlfriend said, "Well, call them back. Either get them to bring out the blue cheese or get some money off the order." I told her that it was just a side of blue cheese and that it really wasn't a big deal. I actually had some blue cheese in my refrigerator anyway, but she insisted that both Grubhub and the restaurant had screwed up and that they needed to make it right. We went back and forth, and I finally just said that I wasn't in the mood to go making a big deal out of blue cheese, and that if I didn't care, she shouldn't care. I kind of like...
I
don't know.
agree.
Yeah.
It's blue cheese.
Yeah, it's like it's just a side. If it was like your whole order was
Yeah.
messed up, then yeah. But it was just like a side. I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah, it's just like slightly annoying, but it's not annoying enough to be like,
It was probably like, 60 cents to $1.
yeah, truly.
maybe.
And you already had blue cheese at home.
Yeah, so it's like, whatever. Wanted theirs, but fine.
Yeah.
She seemed to let it go at that, but maybe an hour later, as we were watching our movie, she suddenly said, "I like that you're a laid-back, easygoing sort of guy. My ex always made a huge deal out of everything and used to give anyone serving him a hard time if they didn't make everything perfect. But I do kind of miss the way he'd stand up for himself and me, and sometimes I wish you were more like that."
Ooh, see, that's like not a compliment sandwich. That's like I don't even know. It started all right, and then it just got so much worse. Like a sharp
Yeah.
decline.
Yeah, that just, I don't even think there, okay, no, there
It was
was a
like, I
compliment.
like the way
Laid
that you're
back.
laid back, and then it was like, but I hate the way that you're laid back.
Yeah, it was literally like, I love it, but like, grow up.
Yeah. Yikes. I would immediately say, hey, that's not okay to say.
Yeah, I would have been
Sorry,
like,
did you just compare me to your ex?
yeah, cool. For context, before we got together, we had both recently gotten out of long-term, multi-year relationships.
Dying.
At first, I didn't say much, just something like, well, he's him and I'm me.
Yeah, what do you say?
Yeah.
I think I would have called that out.
I would have been like, do you want me to be more aggressive?
Nah, I would have been like, hey, you can bring stuff up to me, but not like that.
Yeah. However, her comment bothered me. It seemed really snide and targeted, and like she was saying I was less of a man than her ex just because I didn't go throwing a tantrum anytime something didn't go my way. So maybe 15 minutes later, I admit I was stewing. I said, as long as we are comparing exes, I like that you are more down to earth and at ease with yourself than my ex, but sometimes I don't think it's all that cute when you just openly burp and fart in front of me and laugh about it, or how you never like to dress up and don't like to wear makeup. I do kind of miss her sense of femininity that you don't seem to possess.
Oh, P.
That was
Oh,
the
P.
wrong move, buddy.
Oh, P. It's like when you're playing a game and you pick the wrong dialogue option and then you get the bad ending. That was a mistake, OP.
Yeah, that was not good at all. You really just...
You lost any kind of high ground that you had, any moral high ground you had for a moment there. Gone. Now you're both in the mud.
You might be going to Breakup City soon.
Yeah, that was a crazy thing to say.
Yeah. I would have been like, oh, so you don't like me at all. Is
Yeah.
how I would take that.
Okay, for sure.
This comment didn't go over well, to say the least. In fact, we got into a huge fight and the evening was ruined, and we are still going back and forth about it. I admit that my comment was probably kind of passive-aggressive, but I was just trying to show her how bad it feels to be compared to an ex. Am I the a-hole? Yeah.
So I think the rule for literature of show don't tell doesn't typically apply in relationships, because we should just tell our partner how we're
Yeah.
feeling instead of showing them an example.
Yeah, and also the fact that, like, you just kind of ripped into her.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like,
Hey, yeah, that hurt my feelings. It was just
let me get back at her. Like,
yeah.
that's not how this is supposed to go. And now guess what? You're in a horrible, huge fight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like it very much you could have just been like, hey, that wasn't a cool comment. Like, I don't really like when you say things like that or whatever.
Yeah.
It could have just been like that, like saying how you feel rather than like passive aggressively just coming at them again.
Yes.
Like, because that's what me and my ex would do. I'd be like, I don't really like when you like say this. And he'd be like, well, I don't like when you say this. And I'm like, what?
yeah.
Can we focus on me? Like, I don't know. Is that
And then-
bad?
yes. No,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it is the sign of a like defensive and I don't know, it's sign of defensive and kind of like self-absorbed person
Yeah.
to when, and not that, I think everyone can do this at times, but it is like a self-absorbed trait, I think, to when someone brings up an issue, you're just immediately like, well, do you remember when you did this?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I never think that. I always think like, oh, that's how they feel. They feel
Yeah.
comfortable talking to me, and like, if that's something that they don't like, I'm going to try to fix it because I want
Yeah.
to please them. I don't want to be in a fight. Like
exactly.
this just like sparked a new fire of like ammunition towards each other. Like
Yeah.
it's just, and to be clear, I do think that what she said wasn't right either.
No, exactly. That's the thing. It's like if he had just said, I did not like what you said there, that wasn't okay.
Yes.
Gold star.
Yeah. But it
But-
was the response that you
Yeah.
did, which was another like defense attack mechanism thing.
He said, I think you're disgusting and unfeminine.
Yeah. Like, you can't say that to a girl.
Yeah. I'm
You
sorry.
can't.
Do you burp in front of her? Then shut up.
There is an update. Thanks to everyone who took the time to comment, and also for those of you kind enough to leave awards. To be honest, I felt completely justified in what I'd said to my girlfriend when I wrote this. I thought that she was completely out of line and that I was only giving back to her what she'd given to me. However, reading your comments has made me realize that I still have some growing up to do. I called my girlfriend yesterday and talked to her. I told her that I was really sorry about what I'd said to her. I told her that I didn't mean it, that I just felt bad after what she'd told me, and that I was trying to make her feel bad in return. I then said, but please don't compare me to your ex in order to make a point again. It's really underhanded, and it's not something I'm going to put up with. If you don't like something I do or have a problem, just talk to me about it. Nothing good will ever come of bringing your ex into the discussion.
think
I
that's
agree with
important.
that. I think that yeah, if that's your boundary, if
Mhm.
that's what you be like, that's like one thing that like is gonna trigger me, then yeah, that was great. Glad you did that. By the way, you can write about your ex and send it in, and then maybe listen to it by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app, and just search up OK Storytime. That one was a long shot.
Do it.
All right, let's freaking just get into it.
Let's do it.
She actually started crying then and apologized for comparing and said that it was wrong. She admitted that she was trying to shame me into being more assertive and that I had really hurt her with what I came back with. We agreed to some new boundaries, and I hope anyway, that we are good for now. Some people have suggested that we are in a rebound situation. Maybe, maybe not, but I really love her and want things to work out with her, which is why she had the power to hurt me to the point where I turned into a dumb child. Again, thanks everyone, and I agree with your verdict.
Well, there you go. All's well that ends well.
Sure.
Love to
I-
see it.
Yeah, I don't like how they like brought up like rebound stuff. I don't think you need to worry about that. If
Yeah,
you-
I mean, they were saying that probably because they both got into the relationship very
Yeah.
shortly after. But it seems like it's been some time, and that doesn't feel like necessarily super relevant. Maybe you guys weren't fully healed. We don't know. But
And-
I think that's just speculation.
Sometimes it just happens. Nobody knows like what where
I
you're supposed to
can't
go.
speak.
Yeah, like you just don't know. Everyone's timeline's different.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story, and we got another one coming right up.
I kept my pregnancy a secret from my sister, and now my family's furious.
I'm sorry.
I, 25 female, am 9 weeks pregnant with my first child. I cannot explain how excited both my husband and I are. Over the past few weeks, we've been planning on how to tell our families, and we'll be starting this weekend. We're going to have his sisters, my parents, and my brothers, 22 male, autistic, and 15 male, over this weekend to spill the beans. However, I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole for excluding my older sister. By the way, this comes from user New Supermarket 4832. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're going to read this story and maybe have some good advice. Maybe not. That's where you come in. You can comment below what you think OP should do. And OP says, for context, my older sister, 28 female, has been extremely verbally harmful towards me in the past for almost 10 years. This was due to having health issues and taking her frustrations out on me or my brother, 22 male. Her biggest triggers were when we had accomplished something prior to her, such as her driver's license, going to prom, getting married, or really any big life event.
Due to her health issues, she's unable to have biological children, but has a stepdaughter, a 13 female. For the past 2 years, I've been in low contact with her and her family due to how she affects my mental health. We only see her at family events. Each time, she avoids us, pretends that we're not there. We've had cases where she tells my family that we're being a-holes for not starting conversations with them. It's to the point my husband feels extremely uncomfortable around her. He's even made comments about how weird it is that she treats me like competition, no matter the situation. While planning and talking about our future baby, we decided it would be best not to bring someone high stress into our home. We're not sure how she would react and don't want to deal with a drama situation. Instead, I planned on sending her a direct message to let her know, because I feel like I would be an a-hole if I hid it. I know my youngest brother, who was too young to know how bad everything was, and my mother might think I'm in the wrong. My husband has told me that I'm not being an a-hole for protecting my peace, but I keep hearing this nasty voice in the back of my head, calling me an a-hole.
You're an a-hole.
For excluding her, even with what she's done.
You're excluding me. What have I done?
So, Gollum, would I be the a-hole here?
Yes. Yes, you would. You naughty hobbitses.
And can you elaborate?
Tell me about the baby. I want to know about the baby so I can eat it.
Does Gollum canonically eat babies?
Canonically? Canonically.
Canonically.
I bet he would. He would eat anything. He's like a goat.
I mean, a hobbit is a pretty small guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he would eat a hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
We have some comments, though. Comment 1. If your mother is denying the reality of how bad your sister is, then she's an enabler. Be very blunt with her, and if she wants to watch your baby, your sister cannot see the baby ever. Think hard before ever letting her babysit. One time might be all it takes for your sister to harm your child.
Yikes.
Enablers will justify letting sisters see the baby because sister is family. OP replies, my mom and dad weren't around because they were working. Due to my sister's health issues, they went into debt, and we were low income, and were actively trying to get out. Not an excuse, because they knew some of the stuff she was doing. My mom has a soft spot for my sister because of her health issues. I've actively called my mom out on this, and the parentification of me. I was actively taking care of my brother and parenting them. We have moved past this, but I wasn't planning on letting my mom watch my child for that exact reason. Comment 2 says, not the a-hole. That voice is a liar. I suspect that throughout your life you've been told by others to accept her behavior because that's just how she is, or have some compassion for her because she's sick. Those statements made during our childhood and adolescence essentially install a button on us, so that anytime we try to establish boundaries or defend themselves, a nasty little voice comes in to tell you that you're wrong for doing so.
You're wrong. And a nasty little voice inside your head, I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Why are you so good at that?
You have the responsibility to your husband, and now your child, to protect them from witnessing this type of behavior.
Don't I have the responsibility to my husband? No. No. You're wrong.
You have a responsibility to yourself to make sure that you are healthy and happy.
Don't I have a responsibility to my health to make sure I'm healthy and happy? No. No, you must take the ring.
You have to model your child on what type of behavior is acceptable and unacceptable.
You have to eat the child.
No eating the child. Start now so that your child doesn't grow up thinking it's okay for them to be treated the way your sister has always treated you. OP replies, honestly, your suspicions were correct. That was the common phrase I've heard most of my life, and you're probably right about that little voice.
Yes.
I'm going to keep being low contact with her. I don't think it's healthy for me or my child to be near her. Thank you. And we do have an update. Sophia.
Yes.
No, other Sophia.
Fine. Ugh.
How do we feel?
How do I feel? I took in a lot of that story while I was doing the Gollum impression. And what I learned is that your sister you don't seem to like your sister. And if you don't like your sister, you don't really need to tell her anything about your life. She doesn't, you don't owe it to her. So don't give it to her. Don't give it up for free. She's got to pay for that information.
Yeah, maybe get her on a payment plan and monetize your baby. That's why I always say people should have more kids, not so that we can have traditional, American values.
Yeah.
Just so that we can monetize them and make as much money off of them as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
I think yeah, you start a Patreon, you start putting information about your baby on there, and then if sister ever wants to know, you're like, yeah, of course, just like subscribe.
You can rent visitation rights to the baby
Become a member.
on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, you can become a member and you
Yeah.
get a bit of a discount and you also get snacks.
We actually have a membership plan, $5 just to see the footage of the baby every once in a while. For $30, you actually get to call us and we tell you what the baby's doing right now. And for $150, we let you come over.
$150 a second.
Yes. Yeah.
Update. On to the update. My husband and I ended up dividing the announcement between our families. It was my husband's idea. He wanted to make it special for his younger sisters. For context, my husband's youngest sister, 13 female, wants to be an aunt and has begged both siblings for years. She was sleeping over for the weekend and was there for both announcements. His other sister, 27 female, had come over for lunch instead of dinner, and we ended up telling them in a PowerPoint. It was labeled Why Sister-in-Law 13 Female Needs to Stop Asking to Be an Auntie. The first 2 slides were explaining the responsibilities of children. She kept arguing with us the whole time about being ready. When we got to the slide announcing our pregnancy, she ended up crying in joy and telling us that we better not be lying. The other sister, 27 female, had jumped straight into planning mode, offering to help me with anything I needed, from party planning to making my craving food. It was a beautiful moment, and I felt really lucky to have them as my sister-in-laws. It was a little bumpy when my parents came. For telling them, we gave them cheesy shirts, saying Grandma and Grandpa. My mom literally screamed, throwing the shirt at my dad, and ran to give me a hug. Dad laughed and made sure that my high-functioning autistic brother understood what was going on. My youngest brother just threw his arms around me, promising me that he would help me with anything I needed.
Aw.
That's very cute.
Positive.
That's very cute. That's very cute.
High functioning autistic brother was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Is there a baby inside?
What's going on?
Once we all calmed down, my dad asked the big question, when are you going to tell your sister? And by the way, I'm going to tell you right now that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime wherever you're listening. And there we are. That was pretty easy.
It's true.
You'll never find yourself saying, what's going on?
Never. Not with us. Because we say it enough for everyone.
You know what's going on. The room had gone silent. I told them that I was going to be sending her a text message. He gave me the side eyes and insisted that I had to give her a call, that she deserved that, at least. Felt like a stab in the back coming from him, and it threw me off guard. My dad and older sister never got along, like water and oil. He supported me being low contact for years. He was disgusted by what my sister both put me and my brothers through. I ended up repeating that I would only be sending her a text message and changed the subject. He was physically upset after, shaking his head, and kept side-eyeing me. My mom had come up to me after, letting me know that my sister was having additional health issues again. No one had told me. She went into details with me and acknowledged that I needed to protect myself. She told me that telling her through text would be better, not knowing what her reaction is. I did send the text message to my sister and got no response back. Still, my dad's words kept ringing in my head and made me feel like an a-hole.
I don't know. I think your dad is telling you to do this because he thinks that is what people do. Like, that's just the natural kind of course of, announcing a baby. You tell your family, call the people that, you love. But I don't think that he's taking into account that you all have very complicated relationships with her. And even telling her at all is a big, thing for you. So I think your dad is just trying to do what is normal and the kind of traditional way of going about it, but he's not actually thinking about like everyone's feelings on the subject.
Yeah, he's just thinking about what has to be right.
Yes. But that's the end of that story.
A restaurant canceled our wedding reservation on our wedding day.
They're not supposed to do that.
So I had a micro wedding at a courthouse, and we're meeting some more people for a reception afterwards. About 12 people. We booked a reservation at a restaurant, bar, lounge, just across the street. By the way, this comes from Gov Goose. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Savannah.
I am Riley.
And we're here to give some good advice in a goofy little manner. But we don't have all of your answers. We don't let you know what we would do in this situation. So let us know what you would do down in the comments. We first went into the restaurant to make sure they could accommodate. We tried to make a reservation, but they told us they had to do it through their website. Okay, fine. So I made the reservation 2 days before the wedding. We got a confirmation email. We confirmed the reservation. When we go to the restaurant after the wedding, they inform us that they canceled all reservations from the 23rd through the 1st. No email, no call, nothing. We didn't have anywhere else to go, so we waited. An hour later, I went to talk to a manager. The bartender informed me the manager wasn't there and wouldn't be for several days, so I had to come back to talk to her. 2.5 hours later, we're finally sat. And of course, they're out of steak, what myself and my husband both wanted, and the best they could do was a 25% discount. I don't want to say it ruined my day because it was truly such an amazing day. However, I have a 1-year-old, and by the time we finished dinner, it was almost 2 hours past his bedtime. We couldn't get a hotel room, we couldn't go to the lounge, and we couldn't even speak to someone about why we weren't at least informed. No one at the restaurant really knew why because it was a corporate management decision. Honestly, to me, it feels like the restaurant screwed up our day. Waiting for 2 hours after making a reservation and confirming 2 days prior just feels so crappy. I'm still pretty upset about this. Would you go back to speak to a manager, or is it an overreaction? There's an edit here.
Yeah. So I was playing in a basketball game recently, and the people there were like saying like, "F y'all, I'm getting tired of dunking." They were like, they beat us by like 30, and they kept like egging us on. And I was going to go to the people and be like, "Hey, the refs didn't say anything. These people were being rude. They just were like trying to get under our skin." Didn't do it. That wasn't really the right thing to do. In this scenario, it feels like the right thing to do because they completely screwed out your day. It'd probably give you some more peace. What will give you more peace, you know?
Well, the other thing is, I feel like they probably weren't the only ones that happened to. But I don't know.
Good morning, Petty Potatoes. A 25% discount after making them wait 2.5 hours after already canceling their reservations. Karen unlocked.
Yeah, Kim Roberts says, no, even if the head manager isn't there, there is still someone in charge. I agree. If the manager isn't there, someone is like operating this. Not everyone is just like sitting around like just la la. I mean, well, actually, maybe they were because nothing was going right. No idea.
That's what I do.
But
I just sit around and really don't do much.
I know.
Yeah.
La la la. I have a meeting, guys. I gotta go.
Okay,
Oh my gosh, I have a meeting. Oh
Then
my
I
god,
go-
I'm sorry. I gotta go. I have a meeting.
Then I go and hide and curl up in a ball in a corner.
Edit. The restaurant also had a hotel above it. That's why I included it in the details. There's some relevant comments now. OP says, they told us they were out of steak after being seated for about 20 minutes. We didn't have anywhere else to go. 12 people is going to have a long wait anywhere. There wasn't much we could do but wait. Unless we wanted to get fast food or pizza, this was our option for the night. They repeatedly told us just a few more minutes throughout the night.
Oh my gosh. Horrible. I will say this. If you called around and said, "Hey, I had a reservation at this restaurant. They canceled it. Do you guys have room for 12? What does that look like?" I'm pretty sure a restaurant would make something
Oh,
happen.
yeah. They'd be like, "Psh, oh, yeah.
Right?
We got you. Don't
Be the
worry."
heroes.
Yeah. Then I'd be like, this place rocks. 5-star review.
Boom.
That's how you do business, baby. Was the restaurant a franchise place? OP says it's not. It's a local place that was bought out by a larger company last year, I think. It's been there for over 50 years. Wow. And so they got bought out and now they've gone downhill. That happened to the hot dog shop in my place, in my town. Jib Jab
What do they serve there?
hot dogs.
Wow, what kind?
I hate him. Why does he do that?
What kind of hot dogs? Just like
I could go on and on. You want me to?
beef
Because I
dog-
will.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm asking. Beef dogs, veggie dogs, pork dogs.
I don't think they have.
So you
veggie
can't go on and
dogs.
on.
Well, I haven't been there because it doesn't taste good anymore because they changed owners and they like changed a lot of. Oh no, so many
That's
people,
hard
like,
to screw up a hot dog, I'm going to say.
so many people boycotted it and whatever blah blah because they do like chili cheese. That's like their thing. A downvoted commenter said, at a certain point, you had to understand the restaurant was passive aggressively telling you they didn't want to serve you. They did everything but verbally tell you to go away. That is upsetting, but you made a decision to wait 2.5 hours. Even if you talk to the manager, they won't care. They didn't want you there. So they just don't want...
So
I think
they're
restaurants...
just a bad date.
Restaurants want customers, so I don't think that's correct.
You would think so, right?
They just didn't want you there.
Dude.
No reason this was downvoted.
I mean, this seems like a nice restaurant. You got 12 people, probably like $30 to $40 a plate. That's like $500 right there.
Yeah,
They're
they got
saying
like
no.
good steak. Yeah. OP responds, they shouldn't have sent out a confirmation then. That is also very true. Or accepted the reservation. We waited because the initial wait was 30 minutes. Where else would we go with 12 people that wouldn't have a substantial wait? This is literally not my fault. They should have at least sent an email stating they were canceling. It's weird because you're trying to blame me, to be honest. Was the restaurant aware that this was a wedding dinner reservation? OP responds, yes, we included it in the notes, and when I talked to them in person, I told someone. OP on the timeline on when the reservation and confirmation were made with the restaurant. OP responds, the reservation was made about 2 weeks beforehand. The confirmation was 2 days. Just to clarify. Okay, so she made this like 2 weeks in advance and then 2 days before got the confirmation to be like, oh, we're excited to see you, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. I would think that they'd be like, oh, okay, cool date.
Yep.
They confirmed.
Awesome. How would you feel? I feel pretty sad.
Karen.
I feel pretty sad because, like, you know, they're feeding me and then I'm also going to be staying at their place and it's a very special day to me. I remember my special day with my wife. We went to the lake that day, the current, and almost got her. Thank you, Awesome. Yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah, I agree with them. Well, there is an update.
Sweet! Yes!
8 days later.
Yo! It's a week and a day.
I went into the lounge last weekend and talked to the bartender, explained what happened, and she said, what the F? That's effed up. She went to go get the bar manager who was there our wedding night. He apologized and gave us our drinks free. I asked if the restaurant manager was there, and he said she was and went to go get her. She said basically the same thing. Corporate started a new system without notifying them. They didn't know how to use it, and they canceled reservations for the 23rd through the 1st.
That's such a long time.
And also, you probably have the emails of all the people who booked or numbers. So you can call those people and let them know, be like, hey, we are now canceling, blah, 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 blah.
Agreed. Terrible excuse. Horrible.
I asked if I could talk to her manager, aka the manager for the whole building. She gave me her card.
Uh-oh. He's OP right now.
Anyways, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this by going to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just search up OK Storytime. And they're all there. No matter what you like, I'm sure you can find at least one. Anyways, back to the friggin' story. I emailed that manager and set up a phone call. She apologized sincerely and said that the staff was supposed to honor all previous reservations and said that the staff wasn't being honest. She said the manager on staff that night likely didn't even look at the reservations and had no idea we were coming. She gave us a $100 gift card to the restaurant and a free night at the hotel to use whenever we want. I genuinely don't know who's telling the truth, and honestly, I don't care. They were nothing but nice about the situation, as was I. It seemed to have been a series of unfortunate mix-ups and miscommunications that led to not getting our reservation that night. I'm happy with the gift card and the free night at the hotel.
Oh. You could
Honestly,
have.
I would be happy with that too.
$100, you're settling.
Yeah, well, I don't want to cause a scene.
You could have negotiated for more.
I can't. I'm not that person.
I can't stop hating my ex-wife. Well, that's a big problem. I'm a 31-year-old non-binary person who uses he, they pronouns. My ex-wife is a 32-year-old gender-diverse woman. We met when she was 20 and I was 19. We worked at the same grocery store and became fast friends. I ended a relationship with a terrible ex of mine on the advice of my ex-wife. This was before she had come out as gender-diverse and before I realized I was non-binary. By the way, this comes from I am genderless and directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. We just might read them. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in these situations. So please let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I will still use she, her pronouns for her even when referring to her before she began to transition. We began a relationship and it moved fast. Let's call my ex-wife Carla. She seemed perfect for me.
She surprised me the day after we began dating by showing up to work an hour early for her shift, sneakily buying a bouquet of flowers right in front of me at a different register without me realizing, and waiting in the break room until my shift was over to give them to me. Then Carla had some roommates move out of her apartment, so only 3 months into our relationship, she asked me to move in with her. I said yes, partially because I was thrilled and partially to get out of my parents' house because things weren't good with them and things were going well. She was even there for me only 2 weeks later, 3 months and 2 weeks into the relationship, when my appendix almost burst. Oh wow. She helped me recover from the surgery and even stayed in the hospital with me until I was ready to come back home. Things went well until I lost my job at the grocery store. She seemed to look at me differently, as if it were my fault that they had let me go, which it wasn't. We had moved into a different apartment, and without my income, we couldn't afford to live there anymore. So we both went to live with my parents for a few months while I found a new job. Yikes, and it's already rough living with your parents?
Oh.
And you're both gonna live there?
Oh, no.
I found a new job really quickly, and Carla's mom was moving from her apartment in the area we lived in back to the city she had moved here from when Carla was a kid. So we talked to a friend of ours and took over the lease with a friend as a roommate. I still felt like Carla looked at me differently and potentially treated me more coldly since we had lived at my parents' house, but I thought if we talked about it and I worked hard enough, we would be able to get through this. Carla was my best friend. I truly loved her. When we were set to move, I went to the apartment with the roommate to begin unpacking while Carla was at work. During this time, I was sleeping at the apartment alone for a few nights in an effort to unpack and clean up the disaster Carla's mother had left behind, while Carla stayed at a friend's house because the car was down and the friend was going to drive her to work until the car was fixed. The house was disgusting. Nasty dishes were left in the sink, months-old food left in the fridge, a cat litter box sat behind the bathroom door in the hallway full of cat waste, and Carla's mom didn't even have a cat.
What? Where did it come from then?
Whose waste is that?
That's gross. Whose waste is in the litter box?
Whose cat is that?
Yeah, or like, did you used to have a cat and then it passed away and that waste is still there?
Also pretty gross.
Terrible. The previous tenants had a cat though.
Oh my gosh, that's gross.
There was a trash can next to the toilet overflowing with used sanitary napkins. I cleaned all of this by myself while Carla said that she was too busy working, and the roommate kept promising to help me but never did. Not to mention, Carla's mom knowingly left a bug bed infested couch behind at the apartment.
No.
Those things are serious, dude.
You cannot get them out.
No.
This is Sophia's nightmare. I mean, this is anyone's nightmare, but this is like Sophia's nightmare.
I didn't know and had been sleeping on it and using it to help me sort things while unpacking. Luckily, the landlord eventually paid for an exterminator. I asked Carla to sit down and talk to me about how I felt like she was treating me differently since I had been fired, and how I didn't appreciate having to clean up after her mother by myself, especially given how horrible the condition of the apartment had been. She apologized and we agreed to begin having weekly family meetings so we could talk about anything that needed to be discussed, so no one would feel like they didn't have the space to talk about things that were bothering them. During these meetings, we would talk about groceries we needed, the weekly and monthly budget for the house, any upcoming appointments or important dates, and if there were things to discuss about the relationship. It was always me mentioning things I'd like to improve or work on, both about her and myself. This included things like talking to me before she made large purchases, as we shared a bank account.
That's a what?
That's a very rare thing to do before marriage.
And also pretty early on into your relationship, it seems.
Yeah, because I don't know exactly how far
Seems
in
like
we
we're
are.
at least under a year.
Maybe under 2 years.
Yeah, maybe under 2 years, but never before.
Oh my God.
I don't know. That just seems very irresponsible.
Yeah. I wanted her to talk to me before making plans with friends just to make sure our schedules didn't clash. It was mostly me asking for more communication from her. Every time I asked her if there was anything that she'd like to discuss with regards to our relationship, mentioning that I didn't think it would be fair for me to bring up those kinds of things without also giving her the space to do the same, she would always tell me that she didn't have anything like that to talk about, or she didn't think she had any issues with me. Things improved enough that after being together for 3 years, when she proposed to me, I said yes. Not totally trusting your judgment on that, but okay. Remember, she was a trans woman who was not out yet at this time, so she was outwardly presenting as a man. I hadn't realized I was non-binary yet and was living my life presenting as a woman. Our roommate moved out because he didn't want to live with a married couple. A month before we got married, I got a job at a nursing home. I made friends with a male coworker we we'll call Caden, shortly before Carla and I got married. I always thought Caden was attractive, and part of him being friends with me included him having noticed this and intentionally making me feel flustered and embarrassed because of my dumb crush. Interesting. The first time this happened, I was a little uncomfortable with this because I didn't want to do anything that would upset Carla, so I immediately told her about the entire conversation I'd had with Caden at work. To my surprise, Carla thought it was hilarious and encouraged our friendship to continue like this.
That seems ill-advised.
This is all very weird.
Seems ill-advised, I will say.
I mean, I guess like I get initial thought to think like, oh, like my friend kind of has a crush on me. Let's just make a joke out of this. Like,
yeah,
maybe,
but to encourage the friendship to continue in that way.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm different, but I wouldn't do that with my boyfriend.
Yeah, and I think it's weird to have that joke when the person who has the crush is getting married to someone else.
Yeah.
Like if they were both single, then like, okay, I could kind of get it. It's like, sure, go ahead. But the fact that OP is like going through this crush and dealing with this while
they're about to get married.
Yeah.
And his fiance is saying like, go for it.
Yeah, it's just all a very weird situation. The flirting and flustering conversations continued until two things happened. First, I found out Caden's wife didn't know about his conversations with me, despite him having told me that she did. Second, Caden tried to hug me, despite me firmly telling him that I didn't want our flirtationship to cross that line. I had a feeling if I let him hug me, things would go further than I wanted them to, and him attempting to ignore me when I told him no was a huge red flag. I stopped talking to him unless I absolutely had to for work reasons, and shortly after that, I found out I was pregnant, and so did Caden's wife. So it's not Caden's, but if the wife just found out about this flirtationship, and then that OP is pregnant, she'd probably get worried. Things were up and down with Carla and I now that we were married. She had told me that she wanted kids. Oh, and we had agreed to start trying. But once I actually thought I was pregnant and asked her to get me a test, she seemed to not want to.
They shouldn't be up and down the second that you get married.
Yeah,
that's a bad sign.
That's a bad sign. Once I took it and it came back positive, she didn't want me to tell anyone, quote, in case I lost it or something, despite me never having had a history of it. I mean, that's usually recommended.
Yeah.
She didn't want to work on the nursery, telling me that she wanted to wait until I was further along, which doesn't make sense as I wouldn't be able to help as much when I was further along. I talked to her about all of this, and she said that she was just nervous about being a parent, and I hoped things would get better. We had a beautiful baby boy in 2018,
Congratulations.
and he is the best thing I've ever done with my entire life. Well, happy for you. 2 days after he was born, Carla's friends wanted her to leave me and our son alone in the hospital to go to a bar so they could, quote, buy her a drink to celebrate.
Insane.
That is absolutely so insane.
I'm sorry, leave OP?
Yeah.
Leave your partner?
Yeah.
And your new child?
It's because I want to congratulate you. I want to buy you a drink for having a baby.
Crazy.
Let me take you away from your baby.
Crazy.
And go celebrate. That's reasonable. For sure. She didn't end up going. Good. But only because I called Carla's sister crying after having argued with Carla for an hour and her sister chewed her out. Oh God. I felt like a single parent for the first 2 years of my son's life. Carla was always prioritizing her own wants over my mental health and what our son needed. I still loved her though and thought that if I could help her realize what was happening, she would be able to change and do what's best for our son. It was an uphill battle I should have given up on, but I'm stubborn. It was just before the pandemic when she dropped the bombshell of her gender identity in my lap. We were sitting in the parking lot about to go get groceries when she casually told me that she was wearing my underwear.
What?
Interesting way to start this conversation.
Okay, all right.
I knew she wasn't straight. She had told me about being interested in men as well as women, and I had no problem with that. I consider myself pan, so I didn't have a problem with her transitioning into a woman.
Oh, wait. Okay, so this was before the transition.
Yes.
Okay, I thought this was after the transition. I was like, all right.
Yeah. I had a problem with the way she chose to share the information with me and the fact that we had been together for 7 years at this point, and I now kind of felt like I was married to someone I didn't know as well as I thought I had. After the shock wore off, I began supporting her in any way I knew. I taught her the very little I knew about makeup. I helped her choose clothes. I helped her pick her new name, and I got her into a support group and a counselor so she could start to medically transition if she'd like to. I even went to some of the support group meetings with her, which is where I began to explore my own identity. We made friends with another couple from this group and began to hang out with them outside of the group. Carla started hanging out with them more and more without me. She claims that she was just taking a break from me and our then almost 3-year-old. But I didn't get breaks unless you counted going to work, taking a shower, or sleeping. She started telling me that she was going to the gym. One of the people from the couple we had made friends with took her once as a +1 to the gym, and she signed up the next day. Despite not having exercised much at all since high school, she was now going to the gym 4 to 5 hours
Cheating.
for 4 days a week.
Cheating. Oh, God. Cheating. I think this is cheating.
I think it's very possible.
And just to clarify, OP is non-binary and uses he, they pronouns. And
Yes.
OP's partner or ex-partner is a trans woman.
I was suspicious, but when I asked if I could come too, she complained a little before agreeing. I asked my parents to babysit, and we went to the gym where I worked out for an hour, got tired, and was yelled at by her when I asked if we could leave. Yeah, no. That's a big no-no.
What the heck?
We're not yelling at our
Why is
partners.
she yelling at you?
Especially over something so stupid.
Yeah, like we've been there for an hour. Let's go. Let's wrap it up.
Plenty of time at
Come
the gym. I didn't go with her again. This went on for a few months where she would go to the gym 4 days a week, and every few weeks she would stay the night at our couple friend's house so she could have a break. I was miserable. The final straw was when I looked up the hours for the gym that she went to one night and accidentally left that open in my phone before asking her to look at something on my phone the next day for me while I was busy. She blew up, accusing me of not trusting her, and told me that she didn't want me to be in our apartment when she got home before leaving for work.
That's insane.
Oh my God. She's just booting you out over that?
Yeah. Well, it just seems like none of this was healthy. And
Yeah.
from the start, I mean, before you guys even got married, the amount of like ups and downs that you both went through was already a lot.
Yeah, honestly, this
Seems
is
like
just
a pretty unstable relationship.
like if she's reacting this way and it's very unreasonable, honestly, good. Like if she wants you out of the place.
I agree with the people saying that she is cheating.
I took our son, packed what I could, and called my parents, who have been letting my son and me stay with them for the last 3, almost 4 years. Wow. I hate my ex. I'm bitter and resentful. The problem is we have a kid together, and though I have primary placement, meaning he lives with me most of the time but stays every other weekend with her, and I obviously spend the most of the time with our kid, her parenting choices leave a lot to be desired, and I think I would be able to get over my hatred of her if I could see that she was trying to do her best for our son, but she's not. I threw and invited her to our kiddo's 4th birthday party. She was 2 hours late and brought him clothes that were 3 sizes too small as a present. She never even showed up to his 5th birthday at all, despite me reminding her 5 times. And by the way, I'm going to remind you for the billionth, quintillionth time, we have full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. There is more to this story, but oh,
Sure
my gosh.
is. Yeah, this is not. I mean, it seems like you are no longer together with your ex-wife, so that's something.
That's, yeah.
And maybe this is time where we get like a custody agreement.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So we have some sort of legal protection.
Right, like let's revisit our custody agreements and try to get full custody.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's not showing up, and if you're going to a 4th birthday party, you're getting sizes 3 sizes too small.
Don't make sense.
That doesn't make sense at all, because that's just 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old. Like you got a 1-year-old size outfit for your 4-year-old child.
Do you think that your baby just did not continue to grow?
Yeah, you were like, well, last time I saw them, they were this size. So
yeah, so it probably stands to reason.
it's like, God. Our son is autistic and has ADHD. The school has set up monthly meetings to discuss his progress and where he might need extra help. She showed up to 2 of the meetings total in the last 2 years, despite being able to call in or Zoom if she can't come physically for whatever reason. Her only contributions were telling our son's teacher that she helps him by letting him play video games.
Jeez.
Bro, that is not helping
She's like,
at
yeah,
all.
my son plays COD all the time.
Yeah,
That's good, right?
that's good. He's getting the
It's a stress reliever.
hand-eye coordination.
You're welcome.
Every time he spends the weekend at her house, he comes home wearing the same clothes I sent him over there in, clearly covered in food and having been slept in. Oh
Ew.
my gosh. Okay, so we can totally get full custody at this point.
Yeah, I mean, your ex is not like taking care of your son at all.
Yeah, total neglect. When I asked her about this, she said she didn't have clothes that fit him, so I sent over 2 bags of clothes that I knew fit our son. This past weekend, he still came back in the dirty, slept-in clothes he'd worn to school on Friday. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, custody.
I've discussed all of this with my lawyers during the custody hearing, and they told me the only thing that is actionable would be the clothing thing, and there are much worse situations that my son could be in. Hating my ex is exhausting. I don't want to feel like this anymore, but I don't know what to do about it. And that's the end of that story. Wow.
I think you got to get a good lawyer and try and get your custody.
Yeah, I wonder if there's that doesn't seem right. I mean, I don't know anything about custody laws, but that feels wrong. Like if
Agreed.
this parent isn't changing or like keeping up with hygiene for your kid, maybe you can look into like how much food your kid's eating. If your ex-wife leaves the house while your kid is home, like
Yeah.
then stuff like that,
Receipts.
you could definitely find out. I wonder, I mean, this 4-year-old can most likely talk, given that he's not nonverbal.
Is the kid? I think the kid might be 5 now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
even more so. Can definitely talk.
Yeah, so, maybe you can question the kid on, like, what's going on over there. Obviously, not wanting to let him know that there's many problems, but just to try to get info out of him. But
I agree.
I'm sure there's something that you can do, and that would, I would think, make things easier. Because, oh my gosh, it's like already hard to get over an ex that did you so dirty, but I'm so glad that I don't have children with any of my
an
exes.
ex that like you continue to have to deal with.
Yeah, and then it's
so tough.
And then it's like someone that has some sort of control, even though you see your kid more, they still have more or some control over your child's life. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the end of that story. Frank the Pug says you'd be shocked the things courts say aren't enough.
Which is insane.
My roommate faked evidence to make me look bad and turn everyone against me.
Well, then you gotta just turn those tables one more time.
I, 24 female, used to live with one roommate, 23 female. Let's call her Jane. We lived together in a 2-bedroom apartment. At the time, I thought it would be a good arrangement. Looking back, it became one of the most stressful living situations I have ever experienced. By the way, this comes from user WorriedWriting6042, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We're just a couple of goofballs, guys. We only know what we do. So let us know what you do in the comments. And as OP says, for context, Jane and I knew each other back in high school, and we reconnected in college. During that time, we found out we had a lot in common, especially since we are from the same culture, and we instantly became close friends. During my last year in college, I wanted to move into the city because it would save time commuting to school and work, so I started looking for a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment. When Jane heard about this, she suggested that we become roommates and I find a 2-bedroom apartment together, since she also wanted to move out of her parents' home. At first, I was hesitant because I had heard horror stories about friends turning into enemies after living together. Jane convinced me it would be safer for 2 girls to live in the city together. Because we got along so well, I eventually thought, why not? To give you a sense of who Jane is, at first glance she seems very independent and well put together. However, that is just a very convincing mask for the self-absorbed person and delusional personality she has underneath. She is an introverted extrovert, so when people first meet her, she comes off as shy and quiet. But once you get to know her, the real her true colors show. She's the kind of person who knows what she wants and will do anything to get it, whether that is through guilt tripping, gaslighting, or being outright nasty.
Nasty, you're
She's
a nasty little creature.
She's been a nasty girl. She excels at guilt tripping and gaslighting while projecting a teary-eyed, always the victim image to everyone around her. Moving back to the apartment situation, it took us a while and several apartment tours before we finally settled on a place and signed a 1-year lease. When we first moved in, we already had a few disagreements. One of the first issues was room size. She claimed the larger bedroom and insisted our rooms were the same size. Even though we had the same bed and desk, but she could freely walk around her room while I had to side waddle between my desk and bed. Is this us?
No, I actually picked the small room because I was being gracious. And I wish I didn't.
Another issue was gaslighting. There were multiple occasions where she wanted to buy something for her personal use, but claimed it was for the apartment. She would then manipulate the situation and twist the narrative until I felt pressured into paying for half of it. On top of that, she frequently invited guests over at the last minute. One time, she had friends stay over for the entire holiday break and only told me right before they arrived, leaving me no real option but to just accept it. Messiness was another constant problem. She would leave food and grease all over the stove and would not clean it. Unless I directly confronted her. Because we lived next to the garbage room, her mess attracted bugs.
Oh, not the insectoids. No.
She was also extremely lazy when it came to apartment maintenance. For example, when the kitchen faucet broke, while I was away for 2 weeks, she waited until I returned to contact management instead of doing it herself. All these issues were technically forgivable roommate problems. Not really. Maybe like a couple times, but not all the time. However, there were 2 major incidents that caused me extreme stress and anxiety that I still carry with me today. These situations completely changed how I viewed Jane and our friendship. They made me realize how manipulative and unsafe she could be. The first incident. This involved our significant others. Jane and I moved into the apartment knowing that our partners would visit from time to time. My boyfriend came over more frequently because he helped me with weekly grocery runs and occasionally helped Jane as well. And he also assisted with apartment issues. About 3 months into the lease, I reminded Jane that if she wanted to continue living in the apartment after the lease ended, it would be a good idea to start looking for a new roommate. I told her before we moved in together that I only planned to live in the city for 1 year and would leave after graduating. At first, the conversation was fine. That changed the moment I mentioned my plan to move in with my boyfriend after the lease ended. Suddenly, Jane developed a huge issue with him. She claimed he never acknowledged her existence or feelings whenever he came over. She said she would feel some type of way when he treated me differently than her, such as asking me if I wanted the window rolled down but not asking her. She also claimed that when he was around, we made her feel like a third wheel. Gee, I wonder why.
It's because you're the third wheel, dude.
According to her, she would cry in her room because of this. These accusations came out of nowhere and felt extremely unfair. It felt like she was projecting her own insecurities onto my relationship. The situation became emotionally exhausting. On to the second incident, number 2. This happened around 8 months into the lease. I started considering adopting a pet because working from home felt very lonely. Jane told me she would be upset if I adopted a dog because it would remind her of the dog she used to have. We talked it through and mutually agreed that I would only look into adopting kittens. Yay! Even though we both acknowledged that the pets would be mine, she heavily involved herself in the process and even came with me to pick up my kittens. Originally, I planned to keep the kittens in my room only. Jane insisted that they be allowed to roam the apartment and even gave them permission to enter her bedroom. One morning, she barged into my room while I was sleeping, hysterically accusing my 3-month-old kittens of stealing or eating her ring.
It was the long con. They come from a long line of cat burglars.
She claimed the ring was worth anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 and demanded that I reimburse her for it. Less than 30 minutes later, after I offered to help her look while she was at work, she suddenly found the ring. It was inside a tiny slot in one of her figurines on her desk. Once that story fell apart, she immediately claimed my kittens had chewed up her phone charger. Even though all the wires in my room were completely fine, I believed her and I reimbursed her for a new charger. Something about the situation did not sit right with me, so I asked her to send me a photo of the damaged charger. She sent me a picture that I later discovered came from a Reddit post. That was also 3 years old.
Bro, it's so funny she doesn't know about reverse image search. The lesson is no kids crack their head open and just whatever. Don't come me today. I'm not to be came at today.
When I confronted her and sent her the link showing where I found the image, she insisted she had taken the photo at her office. After some time, she finally called me and confessed that she had found the photo online. She said she panicked and lied because she had already thrown the charger away the day before. After her confession, I chose to forgive her and I believe the situation was behind us. That illusion shattered when a mutual friend of ours, let's call him John, reached out to ask me what really happened. That was when I learned Jane had told him a completely twisted version of these events. In her story, I was the inconsiderate and thieving friend who made her cry every day by creating a hostile living environment.
I showed John our text conversations and played a recording of Jane's confession. That was when we both realized we were both being manipulated. We confronted Jane together and called her out on her lies. She immediately tried to play the victim and attempted to manipulate John and me into turning against each other. At that point, it was clear that our friendship was beyond repair, just like that charger.
Mm-hmm.
I set firm boundaries and told Jane that from then on, we are no longer friends, only roommates until the lease ends. After that, she became passive-aggressive to the point where I felt uncomfortable living in my own apartment. I started staying at my boyfriend's place for weeks at a time and only returned to grab necessities. Eventually, I took my kittens and essentially moved in with my boyfriend. I only went back to the apartment when I needed to retrieve my belongings. During that time, Jane and I only communicated about apartment-related matters. The tension lessened slightly because we were strictly professional with each other. And by the way, you can be professional by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to your favorite podcast app, search up OK Storytime. Again, that could be on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and you could be the best professional out there. You could be a professional listener, a professional Keon, a professional Dakota. You get to choose your own story. It's like D&D.
Yeah, just make sure you choose wisely.
There's a little bit left in this story. Just, yeah, you're doing the right thing, not talking to her anymore. I mean, what else would you add?
Step 1, time machine. Step 2, send Jane back to the Paleozoic era. Step 3, profit.
She belongs in a museum.
She will when I'm done with her.
Things were manageable until Jane found a new roommate. The two of them bonded over creating drama and trouble for me. They trespassed into my room when I was not home, which I caught on my pet camera. They were passive-aggressive despite me remaining professional, and they constantly gaslit me by claiming I was overreacting or being threatening. After everything with her and her friend, I decided that once I handed over my keys, I would block Jane and cut off all communication with her and her group. When I told my friends about what I experienced that year, most of them said I did the right thing. However, some friends told me I was being childish and an a-hole for cutting her off. They said Jane was young, her behavior was understandable, and that I should have forgiven her and given the friendship another chance. So, am I the a-hole?
I just don't. Where do people get off, like, hearing of that story and then being like, no, yeah, like, I personally, like, having no skin in the game because I wasn't involved and I wasn't there, I totally would have definitely.
From my experience of
given
not
her another
experiencing
chance.
this, yeah. From my experience of not experiencing this,
Is that
you're the a-hole.
Is that what we do all day? Is that what we do? Is that what we are? Is that what we do all day?
No, because we're not experiencing it.
I can't imagine hearing this story from that person and being like, dude, you should have just like totally gotten over Jane's behavior. She's so young. She's just a young blossoming flower.
Yeah,
And you
with
should
a bunch of
forgive
freaking
her.
thorns on it. What is she, a cactus?
Cacti.
I found something in my boyfriend's bag abroad, and my life collapsed overnight.
I'm guessing you didn't find a ring in there.
When I, 31 female, met my ex, male 33, I had recently left an emotionally awful relationship, didn't have any friends, and was in graduate school, so I was broke. Shout out to you. Shout out to all the broke college students. Basically, I already had a lot of bad experiences and was in a really vulnerable place, and he knew all of that about me. I was incredibly candid and open with him. I'm in my 30s, but he was the first person I had ever loved. By the way, this comes from user NoExplanation6045. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon,
I'm Carly.
and we're here to give good advice goofily. We're just a little goofball. I'm a little goofball. She's a little
silly
goofball.
goose.
Yeah, well, we're silly gooses.
Honk.
We only know what we do. Yeah, honk. So let's know what you do in the comments, please. As Opie says, I've always been very self-protective and really struggled to form close relationships with people or feel like I could be myself. But at the same time, have always really wanted deep intimacy with others. With him, it was like for the first time I really wanted to try. Like I was finally going to stop being so afraid and take the risk of being vulnerable with someone, and I really was very vulnerable with him. I really showed him myself in ways I had never shown anyone before. And after what I've been through before him, I felt like I could finally be safe for the first time in years. I experienced a lot of instability during our relationship and basically just ended up living in his apartment for the entire time we were together. It came to feel like a home for me, and that was very important for me because I'd never really felt like I had that anywhere before. We spent pretty much all of our time together, and his life became my life, and which became our life, sort of. I don't really know how to explain how important he was to me. I had basically lived a life devoid of intimacy, platonic and romantic, before I met him. I had a social life before moving to the city, but everything was just centered around going out on the weekends, and I didn't feel like I ever knew any of those people or that they knew me. I did most things alone, spent a lot of time alone. There were so many things I loved but never actually shared with anyone else. Cooking, art, just going for walks, etc. I was so deeply self-protective that I'd never had the experience of sharing myself and my life with another person, aka my interests, thoughts, tastes, etc. So my attachment to him was very deep. We went on a trip together. I left early for work, and he traveled alone for a few weeks. About a month after he came back, I found a strip of wiener wrappers in his toiletry bag, which we never used, and he'd obviously bought in a foreign country. He says he didn't sleep with anyone, but admitted to buying them with the intent to sleep with someone. He says he regretted it, and he didn't go through with it. Either way, it's the same to me. I'm trying to accept I'll never know what actually happened. The thing that has been so devastating, though, isn't even the fact that he wanted to step outside the relationship, but the way he treated me after I found them. He just completely withdrew emotionally, and it was like he wanted me to break up with him, like I was the burden or something.
Yeah, he's been a little baby.
I even said I wanted to try to work things out, and his response to that was to ask for us to take space for a week. OP, I'm sorry. It is time to break up with this guy. I mean, it sounds like you did, but the fact that this guy he can't take accountability per se, but now he's trying to flip it around to you're the issue here.
Little baby boy. We don't date babies.
Then, during that time, he had a woman over to his apartment, which I also had to discover on my own. He also claimed nothing happened with her, yeah, right, and that she was just an old friend, etc., etc. At that point, I was too exhausted to even question it. I broke up with him about 5 months ago, and I feel like I'm just getting worse. I feel like I was disposable to him. I just can't really understand any of it, and it really feels like it happened yesterday. I still cry pretty much every day. Looking back, I can see why he might have been unhappy or needed more space. It's just feeling like the floor has fallen out from beneath me. The whole life I thought I was living was just gone overnight. My routines and structure disappeared. I spent a lot of time with his friends and family. My own family lives far away, and I didn't really have much of a social life. I tried really hard to build that while I was with him, but it's hard when you're an adult. I have no emotionally close relationships in my life. I've just been dealing with this on my own since it happened, and I don't know how much longer I can shoulder this much grief alone. It's just a lack of any acknowledgement from him. No closure, no remorse, no real apology. I still don't even know what happened and probably never will. I don't really have the words to describe how important he was to me. I feel like I didn't matter to him. That he could hurt me like that, knowing my past, and then just abandon me when I was falling apart is something I can't comprehend. I've made a lot of new friends since we broke up, and I am trying really hard to focus on myself, but I still feel like I'm frozen in those weeks between when I found the wiener wrappers and when I broke up with him. Adrian Rich says this about betrayal. When we discover that someone we trusted can be trusted no longer, it forces us to re-examine the universe, to question the whole instinct and concept of trust. For a while, we are thrust back onto some bleak, jutting edge in a dark pierced by sheets of fire. Swept by sheets of rain in a world before kinship or naming or tenderness exist, we are brought close to formlessness. I think this is the only thing that can really explain how I feel. Everyone I've spoken to about this says that it's not about me, to forget him, that he's not someone with integrity, etc. I can know these things intellectually, but emotionally, I still feel tied to him. It's like I know that I need to move on, but I don't want to. Like, I can't disabuse myself of the hope that he's finally at the very least going to acknowledge my experience and give me a real apology. And by the way, you can experience more episodes just like this by going to your favorite podcast app, such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and searching up OK Storytime.
Yeah.
OP, I think this is like your first serious relationship, it seems like.
She said it was the first time she's ever actually loved someone. Like, that's such a bigger task to get over than just like, oh my god, I like flirted with this person for a little bit.
This is like your first everything, like your first love, your first time you're being so vulnerable.
Yeah, it's gonna take longer. I think that the fact that you're still like sad and thinking about it 5 months later is probably totally normal, especially because you're in your 30s too? Like you really thought that it was like
You thought this was it.
a
This was
forever
the one.
thing
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I like that you said that you're like out there making friends already, and I think that it's like a really good time to just really stick with the friendships for a while and have those
In
relationships,
focusing on
because
yourself. Yeah.
getting so into the relationship that you said you just weren't even bothering to have friends, like it's isolating. So then when you come out and you don't have anyone to talk to about it, like you going into the next relationship still need to be able to have those like friendship relationships to fall back on and spend time with.
I have no one to validate my experience but myself. His friends are not my friends anymore. That life is not mine anymore. He got to leave that relationship with a continuity that I don't get to have. I feel like he's gone on with his life and forgotten me while I'm still emotionally reliving the end of that relationship every day. I don't really know what I'm asking but by sharing this. I think it's just to not feel alone anymore, or if anyone knows how to finally start moving forward. And that is the end of that story. I think it's going to be really hard, and time will heal, but it will take time. It can take 5 months, like what it's doing now. It can take a couple years. The only person that knows when you're ready to continue moving forward or fully move on, it will be you. You can't go to you can't go to your friends. You can't go to a therapist. It can help you for sure.
I would say you can still go to them, but their timelines are not going to be the same as
No,
yours.
100%. And I feel like you don't need anyone else to validate your experience. You know that you got hurt. Yes, you have your friends and all that. I think what you're searching for is for him to validate that, hey, I was a piece of crap and you deserve better. I genuinely am going to tell you the truth. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, I don't think you should. I don't think you should talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
I hope you're not talking to him anymore.